attacking the ball. They're brilliant at attacking the ball. They're brilliant reactions. Now what I like about the Dubs is, look at the way, again it's the same thing. Keane O'Sullivan reading the situation well, speed. When the opposition get the ball, the swarm defence, they're very, very good at getting around the player in possession. Look at Paul Ganey, forced to go backwards to David Morton. There's pressure, there's an interception, and when Dublin get the turnover, they're brilliant. Again, just watch James McCarthy. He's eyeing up Mark Griffin. Watch him. Mark is about to get the ball. The physicality of the Dubs, that's a fair, honest to God, hard shoulder. The physicality of the Dubs is unbelievable. There's a free, there's a turnover. But the key to Dublin's defending is the minute they lose possession, their forwards are brilliant at defending. I highlighted 3 forwards there. Watch their work rate, watch their harrying, watch the pressure they're putting into. It's a bit like Barcelona. Barcelona in soccer, who are the aristocrats of soccer, have a rule, the 6-second rule, that the minute the opposition get the ball, you have 6 seconds to turn over. Dublin are brilliant at this, at turning over the ball. They're brilliant at putting the team under pressure. But there's 2 elements of their defence. First of all, it's about winning individual battles. But number 2, it's about discipline in the tackle. And I looked at the statistic there. The full back line, their much maligned full back line, have conceded 4 frees in the entire championship. You know, brilliant defenders, but great teams, the Kilkennys, the All Blacks, great teams do the simple things, do the basics well.
But the strangest thing of all, in the semi-final, I couldn't understand why they didn't push up on the Kerry kick-out in the second half. You know, we expect Dublin to push up and everything. They allowed Kerry to take short kick-outs. I'm sure they won't do it today.
Joe Brawley, I want to ask you a question that I'm sure all of Mayo have been asking themselves for the last fortnight or so. How are they going to win this match?
War. It's war. We know they're there. They're inches away. And I tell you, the only time they brought war, the ferocity of their third quarter against Kerry in the drawn game in 2014, they found themselves 4 points down. They were a man down, and they played with heroism for 20 minutes. They came from 4 down to 4 up, and watch the way they hurled themselves into everything. No regard for personal safety. They were in the moment. Nothing else mattered. They weren't thinking about the scoreboard. They weren't thinking about anything other than what was in front of them. And they were brilliant. And I remember us sitting here, Pat, and saying, these boys have arrived. Yeah. They're going to win in All-Ireland. They have arrived. They have finally, the penny has dropped. And they were absolutely unforgettable that day. I still remember it vividly. The way they shrugged Kerry off, the way they walked through them. Colin O'Rourke said a brilliant thing to me 5 minutes into the Kerry-Dublin game the last day. He says, it's unbelievable. Dublin don't give a damn about Kerry. And that day, for that period, Mayo didn't give a damn about Kerry or their reputations. And they drove through them and drove through them and drove through them. And what did they do when they were 4 points up? You watch this moment. Net. That's it. Game's over. Any other of the top teams, that game's over. Look at him into his face. What happens 5 minutes later? 4 points up in injury time. A terrible goal, a terrible point. And here we go again. They're capable of it. We've seen that they're capable of it, but it's got to be 70 minutes because against, I believe, the greatest team of the modern era, there are no shortcuts.
Vincent Hogan yesterday in the Irish Independent, Colin O'Rourke, he repeated a saying that has been there in sport for some time, which is, play the match, not the occasion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think that Dublin have brought that to a new pitch, and you hear Jim Gavin talking about the process. Everything is about the process. In other words, players play away, and then at the end of it, then we look at the scoreboard and see. Now, that's a very simplistic way of looking at it. And the other thing about it, Mayo have got it wrong in the last 10 minutes of a lot of games. But we should also remember, Dublin were 6 points up against Mayo last year, and Mayo came back and had them, you know, they should have...
But they should have won it.
They should have pushed on. Yeah, but if Mayo had to do that...
How many chances do you need?
No, but Joe, if Mayo had to do that in that semi-final, you'd have branded them as chokers. So Dublin have been caught on a few occasions. Teams generally retreat into their shell when they think that they have the game won. Whereas, you know, it's if you go about winning, you must push on to the very end.
But is it not a sign of a good team, Pat Spillane, that if you get yourself into a situation of bother, as Colin said, as Dublin did against Kerry in their match, and so on, and you end up winning the match, you must be doing something right.
Of course. You've probably highlighted one thing, and that's the area between the ears, that mental fortitude, that mental strength. And you can't question Mayo's footballing ability down through the years. They've been so close. But when you analyse their big matches, their near misses, the 2 matches against Kerry that were highlighted there,
Donegal 2012,
the 2 matches against Dublin last year, Remember the replay last year? 15 minutes to go and Mayo were winning by 4 points and in the driving seat. Lee Keegan breaks through 25 yards out, a shot that normally he'd put over the bar in his sleep, and he dropped it into goalie's hands. What happened there? Michael, that's fear. That's mental. That's mental. That's mental pressure. And you look at it, I'm just trying to say, is this Mayo team mentally stronger now? And the one day I saw them, the day against Tyrone, where they got 15 minutes to go and they got a point ahead, and they retreated into the shell and they tried to keep possession and they hadn't a shot at goal. Right. And you're just saying, is this Mayo team different? But I agree with Joe. What Mayo have to show today is if they have to get at the dubs.
So this obviously, lads, is what Stephen Rochford, the Mayo manager this year, has to do to instil that in them. And Stephen Rochford has had obviously an interesting 12 months, the new Mayo manager this year. He was here with Corofin last year and they became club champions, so he knows what it's like to win.
Yeah, but the best thing that ever happened to Mayo this year was to be beaten by Galway, because what they've done is they've swung through Connacht. They've played brilliantly. They've scored goals.
They didn't swan through Connacht. They had no Connacht.
No, but in the past they did it. Yes. And now they had to go a different road, and they had to show a bit of mettle in them because it was easier to lie down. But they've showed a bit of composure to get here.
They have. As you can see, the teams are lining up at the edge of the red carpet, and this is why President of Ireland, of course, Michael D. Higgins, is arriving here at Croke Park with Egon O'Farrell and the presidential salute.
Uachtarán na hÉireann, Micheál D. O'Higgins, agus uachtarán Cumann Luke Lasquel, Egon O'Farrell. Agus maras gnáchadis, deis ag an bó uachtaráin, bhúla leis na himróirí rif túsach lethe, ag tosanú le corína bliana sem a cearan, sé sin furin Captain Stephen Cluxton having the honour of introducing his colleagues, and of course bidding to be the first Dublin captain since Tony Hanaho. In 1977 to win back-to-back All-Irelands, and then to later climb the 34 steps to the presentation area in the Hogue Game, the most famous trophy in Irish sport, the Sam Maguire Cup. James McCarthy there, and that's Davy Byrne, Johnny Cooper, and alongside him there is Philly McMahon. Conor Lane from Bantier, Lyre in North Cork is today's referee, his linesman being Maurice Deegan from Laois, Joe McQuillan from Cavan with sideline official Derek O'Mahony from Tipperary, and Conor Lane's umpires are John Joe Lane and DJ O'Sullivan from his own club, Ray Hagerty from Bride Rovers and Pat Kelly from Kilshannig. Now the turn of Mayo's captain Cillian O'Connor from Ballintower, no doubt wondering whether today will finally be Mayo's turn to enjoy changed fortunes. The last time they brought Sam home, there was no presidential introduction like this, and for the record, the president back in 1951 was Sean T. O'Kelly. The president today shaking the hands here of Shemi O'Shea, and then going on to Tom Parsons, Kevin McLaughlin, number 10, big Aidan O'Shea, will he have a big influence of the game. Likewise, Diarmuid O'Connor, Jason Doherty, Andy Moran, who's come back and played a big part this year. And with the introductions now complete, the dignitaries can leave the stage very much to the principals for the afternoon, the players of Dublin and Mayo. Dublin trying to win that cup, a fourth All-Ireland in 6 years. Mayo trying to avoid going home once again empty-handed. The players now exchanging the respect handshake, the tension increasing, the nerves jangling no doubt as we edge closer towards throw-in time for the final of the 128th GAA Football Championships. So the shaking of the hands complete. Final thoughts from Michael and the panel.
There we go, and no pushing the handshake today here in Croke Park. Teams are, as we can all see, about to get into position for the parade. And this is the moment, Pat, where we talk to our panel and ask you to give us your last-minute thoughts before the action begins.
For Mayo to win, they have to play the game on their terms. They have to take the game to the Dubs. They have to ask questions of the Dubs. They have to run at the Dubs. They have to have an aerial bombardment into the full forward line. They have to walk Keane O'Sullivan. They have to stop conceding frees to Dean Rock. But Michael, that's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes. The longer I've analysed this game, I fancy the Dubs to win. Why? For three reasons. I don't think Mayo can stay, the high tempo game, the pace and movement that Dublin bring to the game, I don't think Mayo can sustain it for the 75 plus minutes. Secondly, Dublin have a much stronger subs bench, have far better subs who can make an impact and introduce. And thirdly, and the main reason, I really believe that individually and as a unit, Dublin forwards possess far more scoring power than Mayo. So it's Dublin for me, Michael.
It's Dublin for Pat Spillane. By the way, just can I mention to you, as you're watching the parade here, they're being led by the Artane band, as you can see. And the leader of the Artane band today, for the first time in history, is a female. It's Emily MacDonald. It's her big day leading around the band. Colin Moore, your thoughts?
Well, I think you have to go with Dublin. All logic would dictate that Dublin are the better team, that they have the better individual players. For Mayo to win, as Joe says, it must be war, and they must have heroes. They must have players that are going to play the games of their lives, and they will be heroes for life. But as I say, I don't think that David slew Goliath at all. I think that it never happens in this case. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Mayo win. But the Dublin have by far the better individual players, in my view, anyway. And as Pat said, far better subs as well.
I suspect there, Colin Rourke, you are expressing the views of the nation, hoping maybe that Mayo will win and thinking the Dublin will win. Joe?
Well, I met Porrick Duffy this morning, and he said if we had
always meet important people. We never do. I never meet anyone important.
If the stadium could hold 140,000 people, we would have sold it out today. It's of immense significance to the game. I mean, Dave Hickey, I think, sort of summing up what many people think about it, said to me, recently, he said, the best 5 football games I've seen this year were between Dublin A and Dublin B. And so it's right, statistically, on all known analysis. I spoke to Rob Carroll this week. He said, there's not a statistic that helps Mayo, but the match is more than that. The game is not science. And Mayo, we know, have been very, very, very close. Their failure has been to show that courage, to push through, to go to the bitter end, to do whatever it takes. So, for example, Philly McMahon bullying Aidan O'Shea. That is unacceptable, and it must be unacceptable to Aidan O'Shea and to the Mayo people. And Mayo must turn that around today. And if they do that, and if they go at them with ferocity for 70 minutes, they can win the game. I think there's no doubt. But as the boys say, it's a big if, because we haven't seen them doing it before, ever.
And if Mayo ever needed a reminder of just exactly what they're up against on a day like today, they are about to turn to Hill 16 in just a few moments. And you saw the aerial shot from the helicopter a little bit earlier on there. An absolutely fabulous scene, as usual, of course, on All-Ireland football final day here in Croke Park. You could also see, I think, from the aerial shots there's a bit of mist overhead. It's not too bad. It's not exactly a dry day, but it isn't the worst of days. But it will, I suspect, be a little bit slippy underfoot. Now, let me also, by the way, at this point, just remind you that commentary of this game is available to you in Irish if you are on the Sky or on the Sairview platforms, and details on the RTE Sport website. All right. People, as ever, watching today's All-Ireland football final across the globe in places as far afield as Edmonton in Canada. And also, by the way, my colleagues here in the RTE crew were telling me there's a film crew watching the All-Ireland final in the Sahara Desert. Don't ask what the details of that are, I don't know, but lads, enjoy it, and we will send a jeep and water in due course. Here, however, on RTE1 in the commentary box for us, for Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
Today is a day of immense significance in the Irish sporting calendar. Dermot Connolly is ready. The band have played their part. It's also a day of great expectations, and fingers crossed that today's finalists will produce a memorable spectacle. The panels certainly are of one view, that it has to be Dublin. So much optimism for one, so much pessimism for the other. But Mayo continuing to walk behind the band, not distracted by the fact that Dublin broke away, just maintaining a focus and a discipline that they hope they will be able to continue over the next 70 minutes. Between them, Dublin and Mayo have been two of the top 3 sides in the country over the last half dozen years. It comes as no surprise then that they're ready to compete for the sport's biggest prize on Gaelic football's biggest day. And just before the anthem and the commencement of the match, there's going to be a moment's reflection now for the late Greg Marr of Mayo, who passed away during the week after a long illness. Greg played at right half forward on the Mayo team that played Cork in the 1989 football final. He was a native of Claremorris and played in that All-Ireland alongside his brother Sean. 4 years previously, Greg had won an All-Ireland minor football medal when Mayo beat Cork in the 84 final. He was an immensely talented footballer, very fondly regarded by all who knew him. Today of all days, he is very much in our thoughts. Yeslov Day, Goreva Onam Delish.
The Mayo team that won an All-Ireland minor title here in Croke Park in 1985. A winner of Connacht Senior medals in 1988 and 1989. He played alongside his brother Sean on the Mayo team that contested the All-Ireland senior final with Cork in 1989. We remember him today with his family and many friends. Stoiv Nashiri, Gone. In the Chicago, Oran Nabi, our Pastor Iguanakioin, our Dine.
That's what it's all about, the Sam Maguire Cup. That's the setting. Over 80,000 people are here. As ever, the anthem has been sung with passion and with gusto. Now it's up to the players to take their cue from the energy and the goodwill that is simply flowing from the stands and the terraces here. Is it to be another day of success for the Dubs, or will Mayo put an end to their Croke Park hoodoo in September? Taking charge, Conor Lane from Cork. Alongside me, Martin Carney. Quite a setting and quite an atmosphere.
Wonderful setting, actually, Ger. Wonderful atmosphere, and actually quite emotional here. Just very sad about Greg Maher's passing. I was on the panel with him here in 1989, and just such an untimely death at such a young age. But just going back to the Mayo issue, they have to set the agenda today, Ger. They must vary the tempo, play conservatively early on, and certainly go toe-to-toe as the game develops. But they cannot allow Dublin have a start that actually, will create a big margin between the teams.
Well, Dublin just making a little switch straight away. They brought Diarmuid Connolly out onto the 40, where straight away Lee Keegan has gone across to mark him there. No great surprises there. Dublin have won the toss. They play from left to right in the first half. They like to play down into the hill for the second 35 minutes. They'll have their way today. Will they have their way with the contest as well? Michael Dara-McCauley got a fist to it, but it's won back in the end here by Tom Parsons, and Mayo have an opportunity to launch the opening attack of this match. Kevin McLaughlin, he's had a very busy and exciting year so far. Different roles. Straight away, that's touched off the fingers of Davy Byrne. 9-ball to Mayo. Chance to put some early pressure on that Dublin goal. Kicked in quickly. In here as far as Jason Doherty. Picking it up, Aidan O'Shea. First touch. Been marked by James McCarthy. That's going to come right across the face of goal. First wide of the match. And he has a huge role to play today, Aidan O'Shea, I think. Dublin take the kick out very quickly, and the referee says, back you go again.
Yeah, one of the interesting things actually at the moment, we're looking at Kevin McManaman, such an influence for Dublin that it surprises me in one respect that Paddy Durkin is the one that has been assigned to mark him.
This time the kick out is right into the hands of Johnny Cooper. Straight away, Aidan O'Shea comes, tries to set down a marker here, I think, in a way. No short kick-outs from Dublin would seem to be the message from Mayo. Brian Fenton setting that one up. Kicked ahead here by Paul Flynn as far as Diarmuid Connolly. That low ball inside, fumbled by Keith Higgins, runs kindly for Dean Rock. Trying to set it back here towards Michael Dara-McCauley. He's trying to continue his run. Stop there, stop that source by Kevin McLaughlin. Back there in that extra deep lying role of his. New role for him this year. Seamie O'Shea. Having a quick look up now, seeing 3 Mayo players inside the Dublin 65-metre line, so they're going to have to be patient and build accordingly. Across towards Paddy Durkin it comes. Player on his shoulder here is Diarmuid O'Connor, hoping to have a right good match. Scored 3 points in the 2 semi-final matches last year against the Dubs. That's a good probing ball in here to Andy Moran. 13 metres out, struggling to get it away. Does so eventually to Tom Parsons, and that ball has been kicked over the bar. It's the opening point of the match. 2 minutes gone. Tom Parsons has got it.
Yes, the score that Mayo needed that time, actually. First score of the game. Long ball in, well won by Andy Moore. In for Aidan O'Shea, slightly mishit, but great support play from Parsons to finish the score.
Well, Dublin now are able to take the next kick out short to Philly McMahon. Now to Brian Fenton, man of the match in last year's final, of course, against Kerry. John Small trying to slow it down. Dublin trying to be measured in their approach and precise with their passes. Kilkenny out here as far as Small again. Then it's Diarmuid Connolly. Where he goes, Lee Keegan will go. Back as far as Kilkenny once more. Paul Flynn now picking it up here, losing his way, however. Shemmy O'Shea came in immediately on his blind side. Breaks kindly for Lee Keegan, then stolen from him by Connolly. Coming in at an awkward angle, has 1 or 2 support players waiting inside. Touched away by Brendan Harrison, back out as far as Diarmuid O'Connor. Flattened in the end then by Kevin McMenamin, and it's going to be a free out to Mayo. It starts at a great old tempo, this game.
Wonderful tempo indeed, and great intensity by Mayo in particular in their tackle. They're getting in there fast, they're getting in there crisply. That time McMenamin, you know, just a little bit over exuberant, gives away the free. But Mayo will be very happy with the tempo they have set from the word go.
And the referee having words immediately with Kevin McMenamin, and more than words, it would look to be a yellow card. That's a little bit harsh, I have to say. Okay, he was fouled, if it is going to be a yellow card, or is it just going to be a ticking? Yet to see the referee produce the card. But he's certainly giving Kevin McMenamin quite a speaking to.
Well, certainly Conor Lane isn't one of Brady issue cards. Actually, in his last 8 games, Ger, he has issued 12 black cards, and that's a bad start for Kevin McMenamin, the most influential player in many respects for Dublin this year.
Keith Higgins now has been a very influential player himself for Mayo this year and every year. Able to carry it a fair distance. Down beyond Paul Flynn, down as far as Jason Doherty. 3 players waiting inside. Doherty goes on, challenged by Flynn. Still he goes on, chance to kick it inside. Well blocked down by Philly McMahon. Comes back out again, and the resultant kick then has gone well away to the right of goal, and a missed opportunity by Cillian O'Connor.
Yeah, panicked a little bit that time on a very difficult angle. Just maybe should have recycled the ball. But every single Mayo player at the moment is winning his 1-1. I know there's only 4 minutes gone, but they have settled extremely well.
It's very early indeed, and that's a very wayward-looking kick by Stephen Cluxton out as far as John Small, who had no hope in the world of getting to that one. Not the brightest of starts.
Untypically nervous, it must be said, for Dublin.
Kick out or kick in has been taken from the sideline, and again it results in a free kick to Dublin, out as far as Kieran Kilkenny. Then Brian Fenton, loose player outside Paul Flynn, chance to move forward. Mayo have extra defenders back there, but when the ball is precisely hit in like that, there's no way of getting to it. McMenamin across towards Bernard Brogan, looking for his first touch in this game. Where he goes, Harrison goes after it, strips the ball from him. 2 players go to Harrison. Mayo break out here as far as Colin Boyle, the Davids player, has a chance to lay it off, and does so in here to the very mobile Jason Doherty, well away from his so-called corner forward position. Back into Keegan. Keegan kicking it in towards Aidan O'Shea, holds on to it, trying to turn, goes around the centre-back. Cian O'Sullivan has a player in support if he needs him, and he does, and that ball is kicked off Johnny Cooper there, and that ball's gone for a 45. Cooper in the right position, right time.
Yeah, I think again, Aidan O'Shea, great presence of mind that time to play it on to Patrick Durkin. Patrick maybe on his weaker left foot, had the shot but put out for a 45. But Dublin are untypically nervous at the moment, typified by that particular incident where Brooklyn put the ball out over the line. And I notice also at the moment that Diarmuid Connolly is struggling with an injury.
Yeah, there have been a couple of people out to attend to him there, and as you say, he is looking the worse for wear. Kieran O'Reilly and Kieran O'Malley, the 2 people who've gone out to attend to Diarmuid Connolly. That's where he came off second best when he was challenging Jason Doherty. Back on his feet again, however. Worrying moments for Jim Gavin, who always looks the coolest man in Croke Park, but his team might go 2 points behind here. This first 45 of the match for Cillian O'Connor, scorer of 2 goals and 28 points already this season, and 2 of those have been 45s. It's a very still afternoon. The national flags and the other flags up to way to our left here of Upfield 16 lying limp. O'Connor, an important kick to try and get his confidence going. Missed an earlier opportunity from play. Dropped it well short. Aidan O'Shea adding to it and almost outfoxing Stephen Cluxton, who was right in the right spot and perfectly positioned that Dublin could breathe a sigh of relief. But they wouldn't want to be too casual. I thought one there from Philly McMahon, and it's run back once again by Aidan O'Shea and by Mayo. And the referee once again blowing his whistle as this gets a little bit out of hand. And there are jerseys being pulled right, left and centre, and a little bit of pushing going on. Hopefully it'll come to naught in the end. The referee is bringing the ball forward 13 metres. This happened last year as well, when Dublin were protesting and arguing the point with the referee on that occasion, and they got penalised metres, and the end result is a free kick that's much easier for Mayo.
Well, very much. It's a little bit of mock chaos that time, it must be said, Ger, but Dublin are spooked actually by the Mayo intensity and by the way they have approached this game. Great credit to Stephen Rochford. Mentally, physically, in every respect, are dominating Dublin.
So Cillian O'Connor has his third kick, and a chance now just outside the D to put this one over the bar eventually, which he's done so. Mayo lead by 2 points to no score. This is where it was all beginning here. Cian O'Sullivan wrapping himself around Aidan O'Shea, and then it got a little hot and heated.
Yeah, but in all fairness, there was no blows thrown or anything like that. But Dublin had to just get their big players into the game and settle themselves down.
Fenton is a big player, gives it all, takes it back. Michael Dara McCauley's in. Here's an opportunity by Fenton. Oh, it's an own goal. Bernard Brogan hit it, went off Kevin McLaughlin. Dublin's first meaningful attack, and they have scored, and they lead in the All-Ireland final after 8.5 minutes.
Well, that's extraordinary. Great attack that time. Fenton initiated it on to Michael Dara McCauley. But just watch this. Fenton had the shot. Great save by Clark. Bernard Brogan swung a leg at it, and most unlucky. It came off, I think, was it Brendan Harrison?
I think it was off Kevin McLaughlin.
Oh, Kevin McLaughlin, rather, the sweeper, excuse me. And on top of that, it must be said, Brogan, like, who'd only scored a goal of 9 points this year, you know, will claim that one.
Martin, think back to last year's semi-final. Again, it was Fenton that time, down at that goal, hitting across the face of goal, and it was going wide until Bernard Brogan got in to touch it past the goalkeeper on that occasion. At the other end, Aidan O'Shea and Mayo stung by that, trying to get another attack going, but Dublin managed to deflect this one away out to Michael Dara McCauley, former footballer of the year, challenged by Cillian O'Connor. Has a support player here is Johnny Cooper, safely into the hands of James McCarthy, moving forward with some purpose, laid off smartly. Kieran Kilkenny taking it up Dean Rock, hasn't a chance to show his style yet as a free taker in this match, because Dublin haven't been getting the ball up that end too often, but they have now. And it's James McCarthy again, laid off towards Kilkenny. Lots of passes. Mayo have lots of backs in position, trying to seal any would-be gaps. All the way back to Davy Byrne it comes, the Naomh Olaf player. Chance to try and come through the centre here. Once again it is Fenton who was involved in that goal. Down into the corner towards Dean Rock once more. 9 or 10 passes by Dublin. Where's the completion at the end of this move? Paul Flynn's gone down. Keith Higgins drags down Kieran Kilkenny, and it's a free in. And now there's a chance of a free for Dublin, finally, after 10.5 minutes.
Yeah, they just settled themselves down, just so Ireland champions would be expected to do, calmly going about their business. You know, early on, Mayo identified the weaknesses on the Dublin team and had tried to exploit their anxieties, but now that Dublin have got their score, you can just see the confidence spreading right through the team.
Well, Dublin won't care. Not quite sure if we say it's the 23rd goal for Bernard Brogan or the first OG for Kevin McLaughlin. Yeah. This is a difficult enough kick now for a right-footed kicker. It's been brought in a little bit. First free of the day for Dean Rock. 93% success from frees this year. And that one has gone across the face of goal, but it's still in. It's no longer in play. They were playing on, but the umpire finally did wave his hand there, so ends up being a kick out for Mayo instead.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, Ger, how Dublin press up this time in David Clark's kick out. I feel myself they will try and get Clark to kick long. Maybe it's not his strongest point as a long kick out.
Short kick out again by Clark as far as Keith Higgins. Scoring chances converted here. Dublin 1 from 3, but that one they made count. It was an own goal. This is a good run forward here by Paddy Durkin. He went close himself up at the other end much earlier on in the game. Seamie O'Shea here, coming to dominate exchanges. Again, it's Kevin McLaughlin moving forward, looking for options here, considering what's on for him. There was a little run made at right half back, but he didn't see it. And Michael Darragh-MacAulay is able to nip in. If it gets too complicated, Dublin have the players. They have that speed of thought as well, and the class in their side to go in and win the ball back quickly. Beautiful ball in as far as Bernard Brogan. Against him, Colin Boyle. Played back as far as James McCarthy. Two players outside him. One of them is Brian Fenton. Avoided the temptation to go and kick it long. Fed back inside by Kevin McMenamin. He's gone again, and again the goalkeeper has to come down and make a very good save. David Clark from Brian Fenton. And somebody really in midfield is going to have to pick up Brian Fenton with those runs through the centre. Seamie O'Shea or Tom Parsons. At the other end, it's Johnny Cooper, challenged by Andy Moran. Fisting it into the clear here to Philly McMahon. He got a goal and 2 points against Mayo in the replay last year. Dublin now just beginning to find their rhythm and their confidence, buoyed by the goal they scored a little while ago. James McCarthy once more. Again looking around to see who's moving, who's available, where's the easy pass to give. It's John Small. Jason Doherty trying to get back goal side. Kieran Kilkenny. Once again, John Small trying to steal inside. Doherty trying to stay tight to him, touch tight. In the end, it's Keith Higgins who goes in. Fouled by Michael Darragh-MacAulay.
Fabulous work once again by Jason Doherty, working away back, corner forward normally, but going back, bring great work off the ball. But Aidan O'Shea has picked up a very forward role today.
Well, here he is, and he's been marked by Philly McMahon. 1 against 2. Andy Moran's the one, gives a little shoulder there on Johnny Cooper, but it doesn't work out. Cooper had support there, and Cian O'Sullivan able to come back, sweep it away out to John Small, and Dublin able to build their next attack. Paul Flynn, quick look up, goes long into space. Running for it is Bernard Brogan. Running with him there is Brendan Harrison. Way out into the corner. Got to recycle this one. Laid off as far as Kevin McMenamin. Once again, busy fit. Kicks it well. Under hits it, however. Easy for Clark. Out as far as Colin Boyle. Into the centre for Seamus O'Shea. As Keegan to his left-hand side avoids him, goes to Boyle instead. And then down forward as far as Diarmuid O'Connor. Player who could be vitally important for Mayo today because he has the talent and ability. Keegan is tripped. Free to Mayo.
It'll be very interesting to see what the referee does in this case. Michael Darragh-MacAulay coming after us.
That looked deliberate. That looked black card stuff.
Yeah, it looks black card territory, but just go back again to the save of David Clark. That's a second wonderful save, and each time Fenton tries the same technique, low and hard, Clark spreads himself magnificently. They're very, very good saves.
Well, Michael Darragh-MacAulay immediately after that got away with it. Meanwhile, Lee Keegan has not. He's requiring the attention there from Dr. Sean Moffat. Well, that was some save there by David Clark. Only beaten twice before this game in other championship matches, in 5 championship matches so far. Misfortunate with the one that beat him today, which came off his own man.
Yeah, and just go back to both teams, it must be said that, both are very innovative at the moment. Mayo probably a little bit less predictable than they have been in the past. The role of Aidan O'Shea and Andy Moran today. Aidan is playing much more forward than he had been previously.
He's in there supporting Andy Moran. Moran's made a bit of a run now to leave a space inside as Cillian O'Connor prepares to hit this one. And that is dropping down and dropping beautifully over the bar. That's a second.
Well, it may be a low-scoring game. It's only 16 minutes gone. Only altogether 4 scores, but by God, it lacks nothing in intensity. Most enjoyable game so far.
So the team's level. This is well cut out here by Seamus O'Shea. There's a good piece of movement by Mayo just ahead of him here, on by Tom Parsons. Takes Michael Darragh-MacAulay out with him to the wings, hoping to create a little space inside. Moran's involved in the build-up here, as is Aidan O'Shea. Kevin McLaughlin was making a decoy run inside, not cracked. Here's Donny Vaughan outside the 45-metre line, and Vaughan was pondering his next move, and in came Connolly. Brilliant work by Connolly. Kicked ahead by Michael Darragh-Macaulay. In here as far as Kevin McMenamin, taking on Paddy Durkin. So often the Dublin match winner in the past in major championship matches. Support this time from Kieran Kilkenny. Back as far as Diarmuid Connolly, trying to drift inside, not able to get past Durkin the first time. Holds it. Wonderful play by Connolly. On his left, great block this time by Seamus O'Shea. Comes back out as far as Colin Boyle.
Wonderful block once again by Seamus O'Shea. Every single Mayo player is playing out of his skin at the moment. Great intensity right throughout the pitch, supporting one another magnificently.
Well, both sides bringing intensity to this game, and that time the ball held on too long, and it's got to be a free kick for Dublin. It's just outside the Mayo 45-metre line, but this was that block a moment ago there. Great work, good timing.
Well, at the moment, both sides are relentlessly pressurising the ball carriers right throughout the field. And as the rain is starting to come down that little bit heavier, it'll probably add to the more cluttered nature of the game.
Dean Rock ready to hit this one. Missed the first one, but it was a very tricky angle. He's had success with 38 of 42 shots so far in free kicks in this year's championship. That's some record. Just outside the 45-metre line. Hitting it and putting it wide. Second one is missed.
He missed one the last hit against Kerry from roughly the same distance. It's just slightly outside his compass. But that will encourage Mayo, probably from a Dublin point of view. They would like those scores to settle them.
Dublin with only one score so far after 18.5 minutes, and that was a known goal. Here's Paul Flynn. Back in as far as Dean Rock. Lays it off again. Flynn kicking. It's going away to the left-hand side, and that now is another one that's gone astray. That's 3 wides already. 1 goal scored. 3 points for Mayo. Teams level. Jim Gavin must be wondering what's happening down there, although he's not a man to make changes in a hurry.
Yes, and Mayo have been very good so far with their kickouts. So David Clark each time has found, Tom Parsons over on the wing here underneath us.
McLaughlin gets away. Good run by Jason Doherty. Away goes Cian O'Sullivan after him. He's been dragged out, Cian O'Sullivan, not able to do the sweeper job that he likes to do, and this one has gone wide. It's Mayo with 3 wides now as well. But he's trying, and they're all trying to bring Cian O'Sullivan out of that comfort zone of centre half back, the sweeper role that he has been playing. But then if there's nobody to mark, it's pretty straightforward for him. Today Mayo will hope to pose a problem or two. Johnny Cooper all the way back as far as Stephen Claxton. Pressure immediately on James McCarthy. Able to break that pressure. Kilkenny has come very deep. Somewhat wayward pass here. Johnny Cooper had to be very alert. Now Cian O'Sullivan about to be challenged by Aidan O'Shea. Lays it off as far as Paul Flynn. Runs into the tackle of Seamie O'Shea. Gets it away, second time of asking. Breaks kindly for John Small, the Ballymont Kickham's player. Back to Kieran Kilkenny again. Once again, Diarmuid O'Connor goes across. Bernard Brogan hits it in, looking to hit it into Dean Rock. Succeeds in that, beats the attempted block, and that one has also gone to the left and wide. They're misfiring.
They're misfiring. There was a wonderful run that time by Paul Flynn. Had he been given the pass, he had the goal chance right in front of him. But throughout the field at the moment, both teams, anytime they're into possession, they're stalled, they're stripped of the ball, and then they're skewered.
Well, Mayo got the first 2 points, then Dublin got the goal to take the lead, and Mayo equalised a few moments ago. So still level after 20 minutes, nearly 21. Poor kick out. Michael Darragh-Macaulay may make them pay for that. Played in, back from Rock, back as far as Flynn, challenged by Tom Parsons, laid off once again to Dean Rock, trying to get inside Keith Higgins' cover, and in the end the referee blows the whistle against Dean Rock, says he held on to it too long. Mayo free kick.
Well, there are indisputable signs right throughout the Mayo field, a team at the moment that they're going to they'll die on this pitch rather than lose it.
Too many steps that time taken by Dean Rock. Here comes Tom Parsons again. And Higgins now seen as an attacking force, well cut out. They have to be alert, Dublin. That was Diarmuid Connolly back helping out, and in the end it sees John Small come forward past the 65-metre line. Then he takes a tumble over the outstretched legs there of Seamus O'Shea, and the referee gives a free kick to Dublin.
Have you seen in games such a frequency of turnovers? It's been wonderful, wonderful from both sides. They're tackling each other so hard, going for the ball each time. It must be, it is such a clean game.
Great ball by Connolly, and it's another own goal, I think. Oh dear, oh dear. Colin Boyle this time. 2 own goals. When have you seen that?
Oh, that's absolutely extraordinary. Just watch the long ball coming in here. And Colin Boyle just so unlucky. Gets his foot to the ball. 2 own goals in an All-Ireland final. Is that a record? I've never heard of that before.
Well, it's 2 goals for Dublin. It's 3 points for Mayo, undoing a lot of their good work at the other end and throughout the field. And this time it's Diarmuid O'Connor who is fouled, and a free kick quickly taken. No marking on Jason Doherty. Big one in here towards Aidan O'Shea, competing in there with Philly McMahon, who did enough to put off O'Shea. Now it's Johnny Cooper trying to get away from O'Shea, and the referee says repeated tugging there by O'Shea results in a free kick up as far as Diarmuid Connolly. His intervention a little while ago when Mayo were building an attack led to that big ball in front of the Mayo goal, from which they got their second goal. They turn the ball forward quickly. They have a purpose to their attacks. James McCarthy is standing over Killian O'Connor. He's on the ground looking at the linesman on the near side. Play continues. A bit of pulling and dragging. Referee says play on. He's trying to let the game flow. Seamus O'Shea down here as far as Jason Doherty. Kicked diagonally across. Andy Moran was reading the intentions. Out into the corner, to left corner forward. Cooper went with him. Space inside. That space filled up here immediately by Donny Vaughan, and Donny Vaughan has put it over the bar. Doesn't score too many. I remember him getting 3 against Kerry in a championship match here some years ago, but he's put 2 between them. An amazing scoreline. I don't think I've ever seen this before. 24 minutes gone. Dublin 2 goals courtesy of 2 old cheese. Dean Rock would like to take the credit, but unfortunately it's Colin Boyle who'll take the credit instead. Mayo with 4 points. 2 points the margin.
Yes, and both teams are feasting on turnovers. That time I think it was Philly McMahon going forward. Probably a little bit unlucky that he didn't get a free as his jersey was pulled.
There's a black card. And James McCarthy shakes his head. Off he goes. He's furious about that.
Well, I didn't see that. I didn't see that actually.
We may get a chance to see it again in a moment, but you can see from his reaction that he's in total disagreement. Having a word there with Derek O'Mahony, the sideline official.
Well, it's one of the things that Conor Lynn isn't afraid to do. In his last 12 games, actually, he has issued 8 black cards. So I'm not surprised at that if there is an issue where he thinks it should be given, he will issue them.
Paddy Andrews is going to come in. Now, I'm not sure he's going to play it as a back. He has done so in the past. This time Aidan O'Shea upends the Dublin player over there, and he's hoping that he's not in hot water as well. It's going to be a free kick anyway, as Philly McMahon went down and requires some attention.
That's the second time Philly McMahon has gone down. He went down in the last attack, remember, just before the turnover that time on Conor Lane. Be interesting to see, is he going to issue a card? He doesn't.
Well, on comes Paddy Andrews. Where the black card's concerned, we keep on being told, of course, it's one of the 5 new rules introduced 2 or 3 years ago, and this is the 3rd year of it, and it's all about intentionally pulling down an opponent.
On the top of that, actually, what that means now is that Dublin are bereft of a half of their defence that won the All-Ireland last year.
Free kick to Dublin, which Johnny Cooper is going to take. When are they going to score something themselves, you wonder? 25 minutes in, and a Dublin player really hasn't scored so far. Beautifully forward this time. Fumbled by McManaman. We've had a lot of rain. Ball's greasy. Onto it quickly came Paddy Durkin. Fed forward to Tom Parsons. Then on to Aidan O'Shea. Once again a menacing figure. Kicking it in long. It's going away to the right-hand side. Cluxton will leave it, and Andy Moran couldn't get to it. Well, they did a better delivery than that in there. There's an absolutely distraught James McCarthy there, and this, we think, is what happened here. Oh, it's a third-man tackle.
It is a black card. It is a black card offence. Oh, maybe complain the conditions, whatever, but that is a black card offence, deliberately taking another player out of the game.
Happened here to Richie Feeney, of course, in the All-Ireland Cup final a couple of years ago. That's a very poor kick out again. There's a push in the back this time. But if Dublin keep on playing some of these very dangerous, dodgy, short kick-outs, they could be in serious trouble before the end of this match.
And they're untypically supine today. Normally you get Dublin playing at a very high pace. Time and time again, they've hesitated going for the ball. It is Mayo who have accelerated the tempo and who are setting the agenda.
And are 2 points down. And it might get worse here. This is Davy Byrne. Stolen away. One back. Keith Higgins into the clear this time. Carried out and carried forward here by Diarmuid O'Connor from Ballintubber. He can make plenty of ground here because Brian Fenton's the nearest man to him. Won't want to commit himself too much. Will want to try and stay goal side. Off as far as Tom Parsons. Then onto it comes Lee Keegan. Andy Moran eventually decides to look up, have a kick, and kick it way in towards O'Shea. Runs away from him. Cian O'Sullivan says O'Shea, but the post flat's gone. It's not going to count.
He's a little bit unlucky. I thought that time it was 6 of one, a half a dozen of the other. He's the one that was blown.
Well, he was hoping he was going to be the third Mayo player to score a goal in this final.
Honestly, I didn't see a foul in that case.
Kieran Kilkenny. On his shoulder here, he's got plenty of support players, and in came Kevin McLaughlin, a clumsy challenge. Michael Darragh Macaulay. Coming forward in support of him is John Small. Mayo players just retreating, and if they retreat too much, they'll give Dublin an opportunity to be incisive once more. They kick it back towards Kieran Kilkenny, in spite of the fact that they haven't played all that terribly well. Dublin are still leading by 2 points.
It's quite extraordinary, in fact, when you look at it. 27 minutes gone, no Dublin player has scored yet.
Not so far. Kevin McLaughlin on as far as Colin Boyle. Down to Aidan O'Shea, taking Cian O'Sullivan over there with him, but O'Sullivan, strongly built lad, great footballer, won the duel, won the race initially. McMahon now into the clear towards John Small again. Even though John Small's a very, very fine footballer, I think Dublin are missing the pace of Jack McCaffrey down along that left channel. He gave them an attacking outlet last year that really isn't present so far today. Here comes Kieran Kilkenny, trying to take it around Diarmuid O'Connor. O'Connor again trying to stay with him. They find Small once more. Here's Michael Darragh Macaulay.
It is noticeable in this case that actually Seamie O'Shea is playing very much as a second sweeper at the moment. He's seldom around the middle of the field, dropping back all the time, as well as Kevin McLaughlin in front of his full back line.
Well, it hasn't prevented them conceding 2 goals so far, even if they've contributed greatly themselves inadvertently. Here's Paul Flynn. This is Kevin McMenamin. Transferred back towards Small again, not going anywhere in a hurry. Back out towards Michael Darragh Macaulay, who in the end leaves it there for Paddy Andrews to pick up. Challenged by Kevin McLaughlin. Back to Michael Darragh Macaulay. They're dominating possession. They're playing it at their own pace. That jinking run by Macaulay. Back in towards Bernard Brogan. Good dummy solo. Third time. Finally kicking it up into the air. It's not going to make it. Keeper's got to come. Can he get there? Dean Rock's got it and lost it, and the referee deciding that the goalkeeper collided with Rock and gives the free in.
Well, that looked at 50-50 to me. Just watch, Clark has his eye on the ball all the way. And in all fairness, Rock got to the ball first and Clark committed the foul.
Yeah, referee spot on that time.
One of the things I've noticed about Dublin so far is they're playing very much as individuals. Mayo seem to have dismantled Dublin's team fabric. They're compromising their unity to a degree, and they're isolating an awful lot of Dublin players. In that last attack, there was no Dublin player coming up in support of the ball carrier.
Martin, an important point in the game. 31 minutes in, a Dublin player is going to score. And it's Dean Rock. A free after 31 minutes to make it 2-1 to 4 points. In a quite amazing All-Ireland football final.
I have never seen an All-Ireland final like it. Both teams going at it hammer and tongs. A Dublin player not scoring in the 31st minute, and yet they're 2 points ahead. They're 2 points ahead.
Mayo once again nearly getting themselves in trouble. Donny Vaughan, who's got one of the Mayo points. Lee Keegan. Across as far as Paddy Durkin. Got to try and make their attacks count a bit more. Dublin have been able to do so. That's cut out. There's a lot of Dublin bodies back there as well. Aidan O'Shea surrounded by Dublin players. Finally the challenge has come in. and that ball is booted away by Johnny Cooper, who's been a model of consistency this year in that full-back position. In as far as Kieran Kilkenny, gets away from O'Shea. Billy McMahon now goes long into the corner. Won here by Paddy Andrews, got 5 points in the replay last year. An amazing performance when Dublin beat Mayo the second time of asking.
Yeah, the 50-50 calls at the moment are going for Dublin. Just that time Kevin McLaughlin has held the arm. So it is a free, but I thought at the other side Aidan O'Shea ought to have got a free in. He's been tackled very hard on a number of occasions. He's been crowded out very well by Dublin, but there's such a fine margin between getting a free and being accused of charging with the ball.
This has got to be a free kick for Dean Rock. Missed a couple earlier on, having made one now closer in. This is about 40 metres from the target. Only about 2.5 minutes to go to half time. Quite bizarre All-Ireland final in many respects. Rain still spilling down, deep intake of breath. Now, can he make it this time? Stabs it, misses it, too short. That's 1 out of 4 so far for Dean Rock from frees. Not the greatest of days for him.
Sums up the Dublin performance in many ways. They're very jittery, they're untypically lacking in composure, something you wouldn't normally associate with the All-Ireland champions.
Oh, that's Diarmuid Connolly dragging down Diarmuid O'Connor.
I think the fact that a black card has been issued already, Connolly might be a little bit reluctant this time to issue another one, but that was, to my mind, a black card offence.
That's hardly a reason not to, is it? I mean,
it's not a reason not to.
If it's an offence, it's an offence. Here comes Cian O'Sullivan. That was a poor free kick. Straight to Kevin McManaman. All the way up as far as Paddy Andrews. Can make things happen. Ready to take on Boyle. Kicking it, hoping it'll come in. It looks good enough to me. It's gone over the bar. Great point by Paddy Andrews. He's in the groove. I'm sure he's determined, because he would have hated being left off this starting 15. He's in now as a replacement for James McCarthy, and he's made it 2-2 to 4 points.
And remember last year in the replay, I think it was, he scored 5 from play against Mayo, so he is a big threat and somebody who actually enjoys playing against Mayo.
Down to Diarmuid O'Connor, down as far as Jason Doherty this time, taking on Cian O'Sullivan. Kicking, looks well, looks good, it's over the bar. Good one by Jason Doherty, the big Burrishoole man.
He's such an admirable presence all the time in the Mayo team. Maybe not one of the more heralded players, but never, ever, ever lacks an effort.
So we're back once again to a 3-point game. He got that goal, of course, late in the first half against Tipperary in the semi-final that set up Mayo at a time when their efforts were floundering somewhat. Here's John Small. Laid off again. It's Andrews. He's got to hit everything now at this stage. Feeling hot, feeling good. Why not? 2 in a row.
But they're outstanding scores from Andrews. That time he knew exactly what he wanted to do. Just stayed away from John Small. Had the room. Mayo probably haven't come to terms yet as to who should be marking him. But that's a very encouraging score from a Dublin point of view. Those 2 scores have certainly just calmed Dublin down, increased their confidence as well.
Yeah, at this stage, Diarmuid Connolly's gone very, very deep. Lee Keegan has not followed him. Lee Keegan has now gone on to Paddy Andrews. That ball has gone out of play. And all of a sudden, in spite of all their heroic efforts earlier on, Mayo's efforts here are beginning to look a little fraying at the edges, and that's kicked poorly. Final kick there by Kieran Kilkenny. 2 minutes of added time are going to be played.
Yeah, but one of the things you have to hand to All-Ireland champions in so many ways, even though things weren't going too well for them, they're the embodiment of calm and purpose over the last couple of moments since Andrews has got those couple of scores.
Now, who's got to get the last score, if there is to be one, before half-time? Mayo would like to think that it will be their opportunity. Seamus O'Shea holding it. Dublin trying to corral Mayo back inside their own half, pursuing every player in possession. Here's Higgins breaking the press. Rock after him, can't catch him. Higgins laying it off. Donny Vaughan still lost the ball. Cillian O'Connor fisting it. Should be Cluxton's. Oh, he fly kicks this one away. A little unorthodox, but effective. Out as far as Connolly. Gets it on as far as Michael Dara-McCauley. Trying to close the gap on him is Seamus O'Shea. Being careful not to be dragging his jersey back, and the referee in the end did blow his whistle, so there was no advantage accruing, and he's given a free in.
Got to credit them with the speed of the counter-attack that time. Cluxton's fly kick just found one of his players perfectly. Michael Dara-McCauley's ability, though, to actually break forward at pace is something I've just watched that replay. Cluxton again coming out and that, anticipating things perfectly. And as a consequence of that, now Rock has a chance to put another point on the board.
Well, he hasn't had the greatest of days so far, Dean Rock, with these free kicks. He's already got 12 points against Kerry in the semi-final. 8 of those were frees, and he got a couple of 45s and 2 from play as well. He's had a very good season by and large, Dean Rock. Today, so far, the occasion may be a bit difficult for him, but it's very important now at this stage with his team, 4 points in front, that he gives them a lead of double scores going into the half-time cup of tea. 2 minutes of added time has been played, so this should be the final piece of action, really, of an eventful first half. Catches it beautifully, swings it nicely over the bar, and 2 points now from frees for Dean Rock. Dublin fans a little happier.
Well, it's been an extraordinary half in many respects, considering that Mayo have probably been the dominant team in terms of territory and possession, and yet they find themselves going in at half-time 5 points down.
Well, that is because of 2 own goals. The second of those was by Colm Boyle, and before that Kevin McLaughlin had the misfortune also to foot past his own goalkeeper David Clark, who made one very, very good save during that first half. It took Dublin a long time to get going in the scoring sense, but they lead at the break here, and in the 2016 All-Ireland final the scoreline at the break reads Dublin 2 goals and 4 points, Mayo 5 points. Let's go to Marty Morrissey.
Thank you very much, Ger. Ger Cafferty is with me. He's out injured in the Mayo team. Your thoughts at half-time? You're down by 5 points.
Yeah, I don't think it's a game that the neutrals at home expected to see. There's a lot of mistakes, a lot of kicking errors and handling errors. So I think the team that's going to push forward in the second half is the team that reacts better on the ground to the breaking ball, the dirty ball like that.
They've been desperately unlucky to concede 2 goals. There have been 2 OGs.
Yeah, look, sometimes things like that happen, and it's unfortunate. Was it 20 minutes into the game and they had only 2 scores on the board, and there were missed kicks and the ball off Ken McLaughlin's leg, but look, you're just going to have to react to that, and we'll push on the second half.
Very well. Ger Cafferty, thank you for joining us Sunday Game.
Yeah.
Super Value, supporting hundreds of grassroots clubs and proud sponsors of the GA Football Senior Championship.
It is half-time in the 2016 All-Ireland football final, and at this point, Dublin leading Mayo by 2 goals and 4 points to 5 points. Pat Spillane, Colm O'Rourke and Joe Brolly here with us in studio. Gentlemen, Ger Canning said in the commentary there towards the end of that half, he said it's been a bizarre half of football. It's kind of hard to argue with that, I think.
Well, you could curse? Hold on, cursed? What curse?
You could say that it was a goo-goo. It was grotesque and unbelievable and bizarre. It's come back to the 1980s in the political world. But Mayo brought control fury to the first 20 minutes of the game. And even though there was very few scores, it was very, very entertaining. And Mayo were doing everything right. And then, of course, they hit with these 2 freak goals. There were 2 goal chances for Dublin. And then Dublin had been hit with McCarthy sent off. Paddy Andrews comes on and kicks 2 points. So Mayo had done everything right. They didn't allow Dublin score from play until 33 minutes gone, and they would feel if they had to do that before the game, they put them in a chance of winning. And yet, we're at half-time, and Mayo probably need a goal to win the game.
That's why it was bizarre, Pat Spillane, because as Colm said, it was half an hour into the half. Dublin were leading the game by 2 points. They hadn't scored.
They hadn't scored, yeah. They hadn't scored. I mean, that's the most amazing thing about it. It's a bizarre game. I mean, Mayo have had 1 forward scoring from play. That was it. Killing O'Connor just near the end. The first forward to score from play by Dublin was their sub Paddy Andrews. He's got 2 points on play. It's been bizarre. Mayo got Dublin into a battle, which is exactly what we wanted. Yeah. Defending like tigers, forcing loads of turnovers. Look, it's a game where defences are dominating. Some of the tackling, some of the work rate is ferocious. I was looking at the stats for turnovers. 33 turnovers, 16 to Dublin, 17 to Mayo. Now, some of them are poor turnovers, but a lot of them are due to really aggressive tackling.
But I suppose as well as that, Joe Brolly, the worst thing in a big match like this, the worst thing after not playing well, is to play well and then get all the bad breaks in it, as Mayo did. The first goal, an OG.
I mean, it was quite unbelievable. Mayo were playing with ferocity. They were doing everything right, you know, and of all the teams, you know, and you know what's saying, look, curses, that's nonsensical. There's no such thing as a curse. You know, there's no such thing as perennial bad luck. You know, there's just what you work for and what you deserve. I mean, come on. I mean, and 1 was bad enough. But, I mean, to follow it up with a second, scarcely believable. And no doubt the Mayo players are going in at half-time believing they're in some sort of twilight zone. You know, and...
But you must highlight the movement and the work rate of the Dubs. Tom Parsons switched off for a split second, and Brian Fenton had ghosted inside the 2 boys and got the ball.
Look at that. I don't believe in curses or anything like that. But I tell you what, but, you know, my faith was beginning to change when I saw the second goal go in, Colm.
Yes, but this was a brilliant ball by Conley. Everybody thought he was going to go for a point. Brilliant ball inside. It should have been gathered.
When was the last time there was 1 on goal?
Can I highlight 2 things? The movement, first of all. Watch the movement of the Dublin player that lost his man, ran inside. But it also highlights something about Mayo's defending. Mayo tend to defend from the front, which they're ball watchers, with left Dean Rock inside the 2 Mayo defenders. And I agree with Colm, but it comes from 2 Dublin mistakes. Should have got it, but you really feel sorry for Colm Boyle. You really feel sorry for Kevin McLaughlin. 2 OGs must be a record in a game.
Certainly unusual. Who will play in the Sam Maguire Cup in 2016? The second half is coming up shortly.
You read the game better when you've all the facts.
Super Value, supporting hundreds of grassroots clubs and proud sponsors of the GA Football Senior Championship.
Welcome back. A reminder that at half-time in this All-Ireland football final, Dublin leading Mayo 2 goals and 4 points to 5 points. An attendance here today of 82,257, and basically that means they couldn't get anybody else in. They've seen drama, there's no doubt about that. Another piece of the drama from the first half was the black card to James McCarthy. What did we make of this, guys?
Well, I thought the referee was doing a very good job and he was letting it go, but this is not a black card. And if, of course, James McCarthy runs into Diarmuid O'Connor, you can see him, and I think it's Diarmuid O'Connor or Cillian O'Connor.
Going into him?
Yeah, he was running. You can see that O'Connor moves off a straight line too, but it was harmless, and I think it was the linesman that came in and pointed out to the ref. And
Michael, we've been here so many times this year looking at and examining black cards and seeing this is a joke. You're trying to figure out, is this a black card? What's it for? That decision was based on the linesman's call with Joe McQuillan. Was it a deliberate charge? Third man tackled by James McCarthy? I don't think so. I don't think he had intent at all. I would actually think that Cillian O'Connor actually stepped into him with his shoulder.
But he trotted into him.
Look, Michael, to be thrown off in an All-Ireland final after 24 minutes for an instant like that, our disciplinary rules are...
I was saying to you lads in the half-time break,
that's human error.
That's because Heather Andrews has gone on and scored 2 points. Joe Brodie, you picked out a piece here which during the half you were putting together, because Mayo, in terms of the way they set up, were doing most of the things.
We were saying, look, this is perfect. They're playing with ferocity, but I mean, this is spooky what's happening. I mean, there are clearly supernatural forces at work. I mean, Mayo were brilliant. They hurled themselves into everything without regard for their safety. They played in the right way to win an All-Ireland final against vaunted opposition. They must push themselves to the limit and push Dublin to the limit. And they did that. They were in on top of them. There was no standing back. There was no passing the buck. They were fighting hard for the ball. The thing was, it was heavily weighted in favour of defence, but that was entirely justifiable, that it was heavily weighted in favour of defence. The problem is, having done all of that, they come to half-time and they find themselves 5 points down as a result of... I mean, I've never heard of an own goal in an All-Ireland final, but 2 own goals in an All-Ireland final. So it's an extraordinary situation, and the problem is now that Mayo are going to have to come out and play. They're going to have to come out of their shell. They're going to have to drop the full-time sweeper. They can't be so defensive. That then leaves the gaps. And you would have to say that there's an ever-present threat of a Dublin goal because of their heads-up football.
It's a fair point, Joe. And I mean, the bottom line is, this is probably a symptom of modern-day Gaelic football coaching, where so much time is spent on stopping the opposition from playing, and they've done damn well in stopping the opposition. But there hasn't been enough thought and planning put into how to beat the opposition, how to score more. And certainly their attacking play so far is pretty much devoid of imagination. Like I said, one forward scoring 1 point from play in 37 minutes says it just how bereft of ideas
they would have planned to be coming in at half-time about 5-4 up.
Now, the big problem for Mayo now is that they're not getting the half-backs up to support their forwards at all. And Aidan O'Shea has been isolated inside, so they need to push more men up.
Yeah.
The teams are out, as you can see, so let's go back to Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
Thanks, Michael. So it's Dublin by 5 points at half-time, ready to start the second half. Mayo have lost 11 All-Ireland finals going back 100 years to 1916. And one woman, Bridget Conway, who is 90 today and living in Ballycroy in County Mayo, she says if Mayo win, everybody's welcome to her birthday party. You know where to go. Conor Lane's ready to start. Second half gets underway. And straight away the referee has seen a push. And it results in a free kick to Mayo. I wonder what he has had to say at half-time. 37-year-old Stephen Rochford, hoping to G up his team, hoping they can get a good start to the second half now, as it's carried forward by Kevin McLaughlin, trying to round Brian Fenton, laid off here to Andy Moran. Good-looking kick by Andy Moran. Very good-looking kick. Good start to the second half, and it's only taken about 30 seconds, a little under.
Fantastic score by Andy Moran. That time Kevin McLaughlin actually came forward. He's going to have to attack much more, come out of his sweeping position, given the fact that Mayo are chasing the game.
And that is Parsons playing it in here once again to Moreland. Great block this time by Brian Fenton. Took the heat out of it and allowed Stephen Cluxton to come out and claim that one. Good opportunity again, really good block, good Technical skills been shown by so many good players out there. John Small now. Here's Davy Byrne, the youngest player on the Dublin team, just 22 years of age, carrying it forward once again. Been encouraged by the fans to carry it on. Diarmuid O'Connor very slow in getting in a challenge to him, and then that ball was played in and there was a push, and the referee sees a free kick to go Mayo's way. Lee Keegan is taking it. Diarmuid O'Connor once again picking it up. Keegan once more, hoping to be a bigger influence on the match. He's done a marking job in the first half now, playing it back as far as David Clark, captain of this team when they lost the All-Ireland final 4 years ago. Keith Higgins trying to get away from Bernard Brogan. You look at the number of scorers on both teams who have not, normally scorers who have not scored today. It's quite amazing. Lee Keegan kicked in here into the corner. He was pursued there by Diarmuid Connolly, doing something that you don't always expect to see by such a talented footballer like Connolly, chasing after Keegan, making sure he wasn't going to get anything cheaply. Here he was, never giving up.
Never give up, but bad wide that time. Good opportunity for Mayo actually to get a ball into the full forward line where Aidan O'Shea and Andy Moran are waiting for the delivery. That's something they just have to get a little bit, start to get right actually over the next half.
Small goes again, once more Diarmuid O'Connor goes after him. Small still has it. Michael Dara McCauley now. Kevin McMenamin wants it. Love to score in this final. That's well away and a good 20 metres wide of the target in the end, always offline. Acknowledges the pass inside. No scores so far for Flynn, for McManaman, for Kilkenny, for Diarmuid Connolly, for Bernard Brogan.
And those kickouts of Clark's actually are going very well, and Tom Parsons is on the end of them quite often. And both teams are so swift and resourceful and devastating on the counter-attacks. It's just the finishing actually that has let both of them down.
Yes, Paddy Durkin going forward. Chance to kick this one as he did last year in the semi-final. He's put it over the bar. Not half bad. The 21-year-old from Castlebar Mitchells doesn't want to lose another All-Ireland final at Croke Park. Lost one in the Croke Park final on Patrick's Day in the club final. That's a poor kick out. It's one back again, and this time it's Cillian O'Connor putting his boot behind it. 3 points for him now, the first to come from open play. What a sparkling start to the second half this is. 3 unanswered points by Mayo, and now it's 2-4 to 8 points. And they're right back in it again.
Very much so. And once more, they're actually starting to frustrate Dublin somewhat. They're interrupting with their kickouts, and Dublin just have to settle themselves down once more.
2-point game. McMenaman down here towards Paddy Andrews. Gets swiftly away off his man, who was Paddy Durkin that time. Holds it up. McMenaman kicking it in. It's a bad ball. Straight to the unmarked Keith Higgins. Out to Diarmuid O'Connor. Needs to get more involved in it. Back towards Higgins, who's always involved. Diagonally in here. Fumbled in there by Davy Byrne. One back here by Cillian O'Connor. Then he's held up, and it's going to be a free in. And it's a relatively straightforward free from 20 metres out. He thought about taking it quickly that time.
They have them rattled. There's no doubt about it. Wonderful start for Mayo. 3 points. And Mayo have a wonderful arsenal of skills up front. Cillian O'Connor and Aidan O'Shea in particular, both of those guys can habitually exert a wonderful influence on the game, provided the ball goes in there quickly. They have started exactly the way Stephen Rochford and everybody in Mayo would have hoped.
Cillian O'Connor staying nice and calm, 20 metres out, ready to put this one over. His 4th point of the day. And now it's back to just a 1-point game. What a turnabout in just 5 minutes of the second half.
That will give Mayo all the encouragement they need. It has broken a little bit of the spirit of Dublin, and Dublin now are under a bit of pressure. They're being pressurised so well by Mayo.
Oh, this is a great ball, because Mayo were sucked into the middle of the field and didn't spot the run from a deep position of Johnny Cooper, and Cooper goes on and kicks it wide. Oh, that's a terrible miss by Johnny Cooper.
There is an incident.
He's gone down.
I think it is Johnny Cooper's gone down. He had a collision with Aidan O'Shea. It'll be very interesting to see what happens here.
Referee having words with Aidan O'Shea, having missed that, and Aidan O'Shea having a worried look on his face, but getting a lecture, so I suspect it's probably going to be a yellow card. Otherwise the referee would probably just have flashed a black at him. It's yellow.
yellow card that time. But in that attack, when Johnny Cooper went forward, two Dublin attackers were on the opposite side looking for the pass, but Cooper didn't see them.
That's a bad kick out again, this time by Mayo, straight to Brian Fenton, unchallenged. Cian O'Sullivan now. Kieran Kilkenny taking a wide view of things here. And this Dublin team have been through a lot. Will not panic, that's for certain. They're not playing great by any manner of means, but they're still a point ahead. And Brian Fenton has it again, ready to try and take on Tom Parsons, needing Dean Rock. Back in as far as the other midfielder, Michael Dara McCauley. In the end, back down as far as Andrews. He's been an inspiring substitution so far, even though they hadn't intended to bring him in. And that is clumsy defending. It's a 45. There, Brendan Harrison and David Clark almost getting in a muddle between them.
Yeah, poor communication that time. Dangerous ball coming across. Didn't seem to be any great problem. Clark going for it. Harrison should have held off his attacker. Lucky enough that time that actually maybe a third own goal didn't result from it.
That could have trickled over the line. You're quite right, Martin. It's going to be a 45, and it'll be Dean Rock who will take this. Looking to put Dublin on the scoreboard for the first time in the second half. A smiling linesman there, Brian Morris Deegan alongside him. Once again, Jim Gavin, his demeanour never gives anything away, does it alongside Mick Deegan. Always cool and calm.
Yes, the response from Dublin, or from Mayo rather, than the second half has been really admirable. They've got stuck into Dublin. They've got the opening scores, the opening 4 scores that has reduced it by a point. And what they'll be particularly happy about is that their scores now are coming from play. 3 of those 4 coming from play.
Rain lashing down once again on a very inclement day in Dublin. I suspect it's nasty all over the country otherwise. Dean Rock, the 26-year-old from Ballymunkickums, needs to replace it, and they're concerned about that. Mayo trying to make a fuss. Referee just saying he will be adding the time on. No time wasting.
Yeah, they're trying to upset Dean Rock. They're trying to get in his ear and get in his head. Players close to him, Killian O'Connor, Dermot O'Connor rather than Nathan O'Shea.
Is kicking in towards the hill. Gives it a mighty kick. It's still in play, or is it? Yes, it is. No, it's not. The umpire has belatedly waved it wide. Kick out to Mayo.
Once more, that's a bad miss by Dean Rock. Maybe the slippy conditions are not allowing his foot to actually grip properly, but on other days, those scores will be going over, and it's keeping Dublin on the back foot somewhat.
But still, Mayo struggling to get in front of Dublin here in this final. They led for a while in the first half.
It's getting so wet now, one wouldn't be too surprised if there was a lot more errors in the game.
Floodlights on. Tom Parsons hoping to light up this match now. Kicking it in towards Aidan O'Shea. His marker stayed off him. Philly McMahon late in getting in the challenge. O'Shea tries to go through himself. The referee has blown his whistle. That is a high challenge, very high challenge. And Michael Dara McCauley in the thick of the action again there. Once again, it'll be interesting to see if the referee has had a reading of that, whether his linesmen or his umpires saw it. It was after the referee's whistle it sounded. He'd awarded the free already.
He gave the free to Aidan O'Shea. That time Michael Dara McCauley then followed through. Just watch it here. Comes in. Killian O'Connor's there. And comes in and takes him around the neck. It'll be very, very surprised. I'll be very surprised if there's not a follow-up there by the referee.
Well, if it's an intentional, it would be a black card, that's for sure.
Well, I think the word with the black card, and herein lies the problem with it, is the word deliberate.
And the referee is going back now, and he's speaking with the Ballyboden St Enda's player. He had already awarded a free kick, as we mentioned there, for the foul on Aidan O'Shea. So it's going to be a free in for Mayo anyway, and a chance for them to level the match in just a moment. But of interest here, the card, and it's a yellow for Michael Dara McCauley. Shake of the head.
Well, this will put social media on overdrive after that. When is a card black? When should it be yellow? To me, that looked to be more of a black card actually than the one in the first half. When I saw James McCarthy's one again at half-time, he was unlucky.
Well, with 25 minutes to go, I think social media and everybody else should be more concerned about who's going to win the All-Ireland final. It's very much hanging in the balance. And it's Killian O'Connor who's going to take it. He's got 2 points in the second half so far, 4 in all, 3 from frees. Listen to the roar when this goes over. The teams are level for the second time in the All-Ireland football final of 2016. 2-4 to 10 points. Time for change. And the man who's got to come on now is going to be Paul Mannion. And he's coming on for Kevin McMenamin, who made his first start in an All-Ireland final this afternoon, but it didn't work out for him. So a change. Mannion on for his 17th championship match.
He's on. McMenamin has been somewhat of a disappointment today. He was very much the go-to man recently, but today, no, it didn't work out for him.
Back here as far as Davy Byrne. Carrying it right across that 20-metre line, over there towards Michael Darragh-McCauley. Immediately pressure applied by Shamie O'Shea. And this time the referee saw push in the back.
I think he pulled his jersey at that time. Michael Darragh-McCauley's getting flustered. Dublin are finding it very difficult to get the ball out of their defence. Pressure being applied by Mayo is just wonderful.
2 goals and 4 points for Dublin, as you were at half-time. They haven't scored in the second half yet, and we're 12 minutes into that. And their 2 goals, in case you joined us late, were 2 own goals inadvertently put in by 2 Mayo players. Tom Parsons, who scored a point from play, trying to round Davy Byrne. And passing it back here. Next it's Seamus O'Shea, 40 metres out. That's a wayward pass, hit indiscriminately there and picked up by John Small. And from that Dublin can profit. And it's Diarmuid Connolly tearing forward. Lee Keegan goes after him. They've got quite a history in recent years. Kicked in field this time. Held onto beautifully by Paul Mannion. First touch since coming on. Out to John Small again. From one bad pass by a Mayo player, Dublin launched the next attack and looked to go back in front once again in this final. Paul Mannion just holding it up here, pursued there by Colin Boyle. Back once again to Philly McMahon this time. It reaches Michael Darragh-McCauley. Has all the ground in the world there in front of him. Mayo retreat. Tried to close in on the various attackers. One of them, Bernard Brogan. That was mishandled, so Bernard Brogan able to get away from his man. On to Brian Fenton. Back out here once again towards the dangerous Kieran Kilkenny. Kilkenny sweeping forward. O'Shea's after him. O'Shea reaches in. Down goes Kilkenny. In comes the reinforcements. Back goes O'Shea. Takes it away from Bernard Brogan. Big roar from the Mayo followers here. They've waited 65 years, remember, to win the All-Ireland. They're feeling good about themselves, but that ball is taken back by Davy Byrne from Jason Doherty. Philly McMahon away to the right-hand side to nobody in particular, out over the end, over the sideline. Line ball to Mayo.
Well, the entertainment at the moment is certainly sustainable. At times the quality is questionable, but what a pulse quickener we have in the second half. Some fabulous effort from both sides.
I'm sure Mayo in particular will be saying, never mind the quality, just think in terms of possibly winning Sam. Andy Moran up against Johnny Cooper, dodges, quick feet. Back it goes. Back here as far as Diarmuid O'Connor, 45 metres out. Trying to get a shot in, stopped once again by Connolly. Brilliantly done. Donny Vaughan back as far as Tom Parsons. Then it's Seamus O'Shea putting the boot through it, but a very, very poor kick at the end of all of that. Easy for Stephen Cluxton to begin the next counter-offensive, and it'll be a Dublin attack this time. Johnny Cooper all the way down as far as Paul Mannion. He's a very, very fast player. Donny Vaughan after him. Remember that brilliant goal he got against Donegal in the quarterfinals, one of the goals of the season. Here to Johnny Cooper it comes again, coming around in the loop. Dean Rock back to Michael Darragh-McCauley.
But just look how quickly the Mayo defence has got back into position. They're getting numbers back.
They need to. Here's Rock looking to give Dublin the lead. Stopped. Brilliantly done by David Clark. Really good goalkeeping. He wasn't going to give up on that one. Cillian O'Connor, team captain, way back inside his own 20-metre line. Keith Higgins now. 15 minutes of the second half gone. Anybody's match, and that's a terrible ball by Shamie O'Shea. He's given it to John Small of Dublin. On it comes here as far as Bernard Brogan. Like so many of the Dublin forwards, yet to score. Brian Fenton can score here. A nice, easy shot, kicking it over the bar, gliding it over. And Brian Fenton, man of the match last year, has put Dublin back in front again with 51 minutes gone.
Oh, that's a real giveaway from a Mayo point of view. Straight pass from Shamie O'Shea that time. Fenton gobbles it up and calmly puts it over the bar. Just at a time when Mayo look to have another chance to get the ball forward.
Well, they have now. Here's Cillian O'Connor. It's attack after attack. Both sides opting to retreat, go into their shell, and then say to the other team, well, you see what you can do. And Shamie O'Shea is going to see what he can do. There's an enormous gap through the centre. looks up quickly now to see where there's movement, but there's far too many Dublin players there. It was a hit and hope one in towards his younger brother Aidan. Too many backs there to intercept, and one of them, Kieran Kilkenny, back augmenting the backs, carrying it away with some purpose, down as far as Paul Mannion. On he goes, retreating Colin Boyle, a point ahead, looking to put it two ahead. What a block! Brilliantly done that time by Diarmuid O'Connor. Comes out to McIntyre, Cook Hawley, and then in the end, it's Paddy Andrews, score of 2 points in the first half. Back to Dean Rock, up into the air. The umpires have a look at it and come out to wave the white flag. And Dublin have got another score. And Dean Rock has got one from play. 3-0 for him now, and it's Dublin by 2.
A Herculean effort that time, I think it was, by Paddy Durkin. Great opportunity, great blocking. But unfortunately, from a Mayo point of view, Rock picks up the pieces, kicks a good score, but Dublin's counter-attack that time was just simply devastating.
Michael Fitzsimons is on, and I think it is Michael Dara McCauley, the one who is making his way off. And I wonder if that's a reflection on the way he's been playing today, or whether Jim has got some plans in his head as to how he's going to reshape the team, or perhaps because he's on a yellow card and they were worried that he might have picked up a black some time ago, and if he commits another foul like a black, it would be a red anyway. They'd be down to 14. Mayo have to come again. They're 2 behind. Moving forward, Paddy Durkin, bad ball again, given away sloppily to Davy Byrne.
Yes, the last couple of attacks, actually, they've unnecessarily turned the ball over.
Oh, and almost another turnover. Mayo went in with concern and bravery that time, but it's Diarmuid Connolly who emerges with it. Ball taken from him, a combination of Mayo players. Downey Vaughan got back. Loads of errors, loads of excitement as well, and you wouldn't know who's going to win this. It's advantage Dublin at the moment, but Mayo have other ideas, and Jason Doherty gets by 2 players. Here's a chance for Andy Moran. No, he's missed it. He's put it over the bar, but there was a goal there.
Oh, what an opportunity. That time, Jason Doherty going forward, kept his head, kept his composure, wonderful vision out of the side of his eyes, and Andy Moore sliced it over the bar. That was a great goal-scoring opportunity, Sportant.
We're going to see a change from Mayo very shortly, I think. Alan Dillon will be coming in to play in his 5th All-Ireland final. A link with the team. The team's beaten in the noughties 04 and 06 by Kerry, like Andy Moran. This is Cian O'Sullivan back there. A 1-point game, 2-6 to 11 points, 12 points to 11. You wouldn't know who's going to win this. Well, you wouldn't know what's going to happen next either.
Very much so, but the levels of fitness from both sides is simply mesmerising.
This is what's going to happen. Paul Mannion got onto a loose break that wasn't cut out. Then the ball runs away from him, and down to pick it up is Diarmuid O'Connor. And in the end, the referee has blown his whistle and given Mayo a free out.
You are correct, the ball did run away from him that time.
There's a Dublin player down, and I think that is John Small. So they're down to 14 at the moment. John Small out of the action, receiving treatment. Here comes Kevin McLaughlin. Quite a match. You've so much written about it, so much talked about it. Nobody predicted it would be this kind of game. Aidan O'Shea carrying it on again, laying it off to Andy Moore and missed the goal chance. Looking to get another score, swung around by Philly McMahon. Referee allows play to continue. Comes back here to Keith Higgins. Back in once more. This is Downey Vaughan. He's already scored. Fancies his chances again. He's put it wide.
Oh, yeah, I was watching the crowd behind the goals that time. There wasn't any Mayo flags flying. It just drifted away at the last moment. That was a good opportunity that Mayo had.
So there is going to be a change now as we watch this one more time here. That was the one that landed just to the right-hand side of the post as we look at it there. Many of the Mayo fans thought it was gone over. Here's Alan Dillon back into the action, playing in his 62nd championship match, and he has come on in place of Seamie O'Shea. Alan Dillon from Ballintubber, who's got a goal and 105 points to his credit. 32 years of age. The amazing thing about Alan Dillon is the one goal he has scored in championship football, he scored it back in his first All-Ireland final against Kerry in 2004. That's the only goal he's ever scored in the championship.
Well, it's a credit to his durability and his longevity, the fact that he has continued to play football.
That's a great kick out, beautifully taken down by John Small, happily recovered. Here's Mannion, missed last year when he was away. They missed him as well, but he's back and hoping to win an All-Ireland medal today on the park with the Dubs, who are hoping to do the double and a 4th All-Ireland win in 6 years and condemn Mayo to another disappointing afternoon at Croke Park. That's beautifully down as far as Paddy Andrews. Out chasing him, Paddy Durkin. The battle of the Paddies here. Andrews trying to get it inside onto his left, kicking from a seemingly impossible angle. He's put it wide.
Great, wonderful defending that time from Paddy Durkin. Pushed him out to the side, got him onto his weaker foot. Durkin, for a lad who was actually a little bit of bother during the week with his leg, he's having a very fine game.
Here's Kevin McLaughlin transferring it to Colin Boyle. Between them, they had the misfortune to put the ball past their own goalkeeper during the first half. Paddy Durkin. No way going forward there. The route blocked by Kieran Kilkenny. Back as far as Diarmuid O'Connor. Fumbled here, but it's won back by Alan Dillon once again. Carrying it on here, Tom Parsons. Going long to a three-man inside forward line. Andy Moran goes chasing after it. Across after him to cover him and shadow him is Johnny Cooper. Aidan O'Shea uses his body well, keeps it away from Philly McMahon, then runs into Mick Fitzsimons. Here's Alan Dillon, second touch since coming on. Back to Andy Moran, trying to thread it through towards Dillon. Ball runs loose, finally picked up here, and that's Mick Fitzsimons getting that ball away with the fisted pass. Davy Byrne.
What composed defending. That's fabulous defending from Dublin, keeping very, very calm all the time.
Two players on the ground at the other end. Meanwhile, the challenges are hard and tough. John Small, the last man to pick himself up. The referee goes across here to deal with this. Gets a little tetchy here with Paul Flynn and Lee Keegan getting involved. This is Flynn. That was the shoulder there coming across of Colin Boyle.
Yeah, it's a yellow card territory. The referee's just stalling things, calling Colin Boyle out to him, telling him to calm down. I think, okay, it was a pretty hard tackle, but I don't think there was any malice in it.
I think he's very puzzled by the fact that he went in with his shoulder, and the referee ends up giving him a card for that.
Well, certainly Colin Boyle is one of those guys who carries more heart than a tribe of Apache Indians. Every game he plays, he gets stuck in. Great bit of stuff.
Well, the Apache Indians are looking on as he has got himself a yellow. And his team 1 point behind still. 12 minutes to go in the final. There's still some unfinished business there between them. Chris Barrett's going to come in a little while, and Colin Boyle is going to be withdrawn.
Yeah, I think that's precautionary. Just afraid that Colin might pick up a second yellow and Mayo a man down. But the movement, there's very little movement, it must be said, from Dublin up front at the moment.
Here's Kilkenny. John Small racing forward here. Back once again towards Kieran Kilkenny. Brian Fenton, who's been a very influential figure in the middle of the park, had long spells dominating things, setting up chances, an exciting young player. Another exciting young player, Paul Mannion. In here, Andrews kicking, and that one. In fact, it's Bernard Brogan eventually, and Bernard Brogan has just kicked Dublin's 10th wide of the match. It's very untypical Dublin.
It's untypical, but Mayo have them frustrated, they have them spooked, they're putting great pressure on Dublin, and they're finding it very difficult to get the room that they normally have got all year.
Just look at the Dublin score, 2 goals and 6 points. You wouldn't have imagined a score as impoverished looking as that after nearly an hour of play. And the 2 goals contributed by Mayo defenders. Mayo come once more. Keith Higgins. Tom Parsons on his shoulder, keeping it away from Cian O'Sullivan. Hasn't been mopping up that loose ball the way he's been doing in so many matches, in championship matches up to now. Higgins, again a very poor final effort. Still a 1 point game.
And what's very frustrating from a Mayo point of view is that Cillian O'Connor and Aidan O'Shea are in there waiting for the delivery, but the delivery is substandard in the last couple of occasions.
Dublin are going to energise their forward line, I think, in a few minutes' time, but we'll wait until they do so. Brian Fenton, challenged there by Cillian O'Connor, holds on to it, has a look up. Once again, it's Kilkenny moving onto it. Nifty footwork to Bernard Brogan, able to take a return. Dublin coming looking for a goal which one of their forwards might score this time. Ball touched on the ground as Kieran Kilkenny fell down. Free kick taken by Brendan Harrison. We've only got 10 minutes to go here. Who's going to win it?
Well,
Diarmuid O'Connor.
Well, it's one of these games that's magnetising attention right through, and every single player is playing out of his skin.
It's 1 against 2, and really they should have got that one away. And there's a challenge there on the Donny Vaughan. The referee says a fair challenge, and the referee has tried to let it go whenever he can. This time he has whistled, and there is going to be a change now, and Owen O'Gara is going to come on, and the player who's going to be making way will be Bernard Brogan.
Yeah, I'm not surprised actually that Owen O'Gara's been brought in. Bernard Brogan, they depend on him inside to make those runs. They haven't been happening.
Good Lord, look at this, look at this. My goodness me, testing the jersey, it's ridiculous stuff. Yeah. Lee Keegan and Diarmuid Connolly.
Yeah, I think the referee's attention has been called to that by his umpires. So once more, the referee has some bookkeeping work to do.
Well, sorting out, and he's gone straight down to his two umpires down at the Hill 16 end, Pat Kelly and DJ O'Sullivan, and there'll be a fresh jersey required for Diarmuid Connolly. They really are testing the quality of the old jerseys they're wearing. New nifty style this year. And finally, at the end of all that, the referee comes across. Lee Keegan at the receiving end, and also in close proximity is one Diarmuid Connolly.
I think both of them will get yellow cards in this case. Yes, that's what happens, and on the word of the umpire.
So a yellow card each. It just delays and stalls what we hope will be a flowing last 8 minutes of this game. Maybe to redeem it in some respects, because there were so many missed opportunities, so many mistakes, so many errors. At the same time, a lot of excitement. Bernard Brogan making his way off. On comes Owen O'Gara, who's come back from a cruciate leg injury some time ago to play a full part. Scored a point right at the end against Kerry, of course. And Dublin fans all around Croke Park hope he can repeat the party piece. Here's Johnny Cooper.
Just watching the press that Mayo are applying at the moment. The Dublin are finding it so difficult with the ball out of the defence.
But they're still in front. And at the end of the day, if they can get their hands on the cup, that was all that mattered to them. Davy Byrne. In support, Brian Fenton. He's been covering an immense amount of ground. Philly McMahon kicking it down here. Fumbled by Connolly. Yellow carded just a moment ago. And there's the man who was yellow carded with him, Lee Keegan. Back to Philly McMahon, it comes again. Oh, it's a bad ball by McMahon. In nipped Kevin McLaughlin. So many mistakes. Who's going to benefit from the errors in the end? And an error-strewn All-Ireland final. Back out to Dillon. Alan Dillon kicking, splitting the post. Great point. And the teams are level now for the third time.
What a score from Dillon. Wise old head, knew exactly what to do, measured the shot, caressed it over the bar, but indecision, I think, on the part of David Byrne that time presented the opportunity.
It's 11 minutes now since Dublin scored. Paul Mannion setting this one up. Carried on here by Paul Flynn. Back to Kieran Kilkenny. You feel now at this late stage in the game, with the teams very weary, that every attack is going to have to yield something if you're going to get your hands on the cup today.
But Mayo look to be the team that has the greater energy, the greater urgency at the moment. Just if they could get that little bit, just more composure in close to goals, I think they could go on and win this.
That's Chris Barrett. First touch for him back there. McLaughlin again. Aidan O'Shea touching it out here as far as Donny Vaughan. Coming forward with his Diarmuid O'Connor, looking to try and get a score that will put Mayo in front at a crucial late stage in the game. Dublin have still so many dangerous forwards, we know that.
And there's a lot with a great engine, Paddy Durkin, but Mayo have been so feisty throughout the second half.
O'Connor once again, back here as far as Keith Higgins, had been captain, loses the ball to Brian Fenton. What a match he has played. Once again it is Michael Fitzsimons from Coola carrying it on, stopped in his tracks by Paddy Durkin. Dean Rock getting it back, Dublin holding. They will use time, and they will try and create space, and they will try and get the perfect scoring opportunity. And they have classy forwards up there who can do a lot of damage, even this late in the game when they must be tired. John Small dodging past Aidan O'Shea, Small kicking, and Dublin lead again.
Oh, that was too easy that time. Small just drifted into a good angle, took the ball on his right foot. Great composure from Dublin. Lovely lateral move and just a little shimmy, showing the ball to Aidan O'Shea. Shea couldn't adjust his feet. Fine score that time from Small.
That's just his second ever championship score. And Alan Dillon, I think, is injured. He's gone off and he's been replaced by Barry Moran.
Yeah, well, Barry Moran, that'll be the twin tower approach now, I'd imagine. High ball into Barry Moran. He can be very good on it, even though normally he wouldn't like to play in the full forward line, more of a midfielder. There's another change as well for Dublin. Darren Daly has come on in place of Davy Byrne. And we're also going to see number 19 here, who is Stephen Cohen, of course, who led Mayo to the Under-21 Championship already this year, getting an opportunity now to come on in the All-Ireland final. Very promising young player. And the player going off will be Diarmuid O'Connor. Yeah, Diarmuid O'Connor hasn't been at his best maybe today. Another one of the lads who's been carrying an injury, been replaced by his Under-21 captain, actually, Stephen Cohen. O'Connor, one thing you have to say about O'Connor, he will give everything. About 3 minutes to go. O'Gara has won it from the kick out here for Dublin. And in the end, the referee's going to bring the ball back because there wasn't an immediate advantage coming their way, even though Dean Rock had the ball in his hands. Yeah, referee giving them a free kick instead, so Dean Rock will hope to try and put this one over the bar and put 2 points between the teams with just under 3 minutes of the 70 to go. A typical Dublin end of game scenario at the moment. They've been so impressive coming down the stretch late in games, and not for the first time. The likes of O'Gara, maybe it is, who actually got that ball and earned the free. Today it may well be Dublin's bench that will win the All-Ireland for them if they are to do so. Dean Rock coming and putting it brilliantly over. He's taken the pressure on his young shoulders. He may have missed a couple earlier on, but he's nailed that one at a vital time. And now Stephen Rochford and Mayo must be wondering, is there anything they can do about it, as Connolly kicks, and Connolly scores an amazing score. He's always capable of something special, an immense talent. Well, what a score by Connolly again, pressurising the kick out, and there's another kick out pressurised, and has been critical from a Mayo point of view, actually, that score. And Mayo now need to get a goal just to level the match. Under 2 minutes to go. Tom Parsons carries it on. Dublin by 3 points. Parsons kicking diagonally across. Mayo hoping for a favourable bounce, and Andy Moran's able to get to it. Playing it inside here, Cillian O'Connor trying to step inside, and that one has gone, well, it's not gone nowhere, because it's going to be called back, because it's got to be a free in. Referee giving the free kick to Mayo so they can get one back here with time running out. However, an opportunity to put this over the bar. This is what was happening here. Andy Moran chasing after it. Mick Fitzsimon's after him. Yeah, foul there, and referee Conor Lynn didn't give the advantage, so Cillian O'Connor has got it over there. 6 points for Cillian O'Connor, the 24-year-old UUJ student, captain of Mayo. But is he to get his hands on Sam Maguire? Time is running out. We're inside the last minute, as you can see, plus whatever amount of time the referee is prepared to add on. And that has varied so much in championship matches this summer. We understand there could be as many as 7 minutes of added time. And that is the most I can remember in an All-Ireland final, I have to say. That's incredible if that comes. But just go back to Connolly's point a couple of minutes ago, he's been very quiet, but that quietness doesn't obscure his quality when he gets an opportunity like he did. Mayo behind by 2. Dublin trying to hold on now. And holding onto the football brilliantly was Johnny Cooper. Out as far as Cian O'Sullivan. Back out as far as Diarmuid O'Connell, who got that fabulous point a little while back. Brian Fenton will hold, and they'll just try to shave a few seconds off the clock now, as we're almost into the red at the end of 70 minutes. And then we'll have it confirmed. There are indeed 7 minutes to be played. Suddenly that gives renewed heart and hope to the men in the green and the red. Aidan O'Shea, 2 behind, held up, free kick, quickly taken, nicely on. Donald Bohan trying to go by Diarmuid Connolly, kicking it with his right boot and kicking it over the bar. The lead's down to 1. What a final.
2 points for Donny Vaughan.
What a point by Vaughan. Like, one of these players who will run all day, nominally at sighted at fullback, but he's got forward so often today, so effective, and that is a display of heart and quality from Mayo right through the game, and epitomised by that score from Vaughan.
Evan Regan's on, and he's on in place of Andy Moran. So now, will we get a winner today? You just wonder.
Well, there's been such a history of draws between the two teams over the years. I think 1955, 1985, a couple of years back.
Last year,
yeah.
Andy Moran's off. Evan Regan is the fresh face on there. And play will continue now with a kick out to Dublin, and it'll be Stephen Cluxton who will kick it. He's going to kick it long for once.
And he's been pressurised very, very effectively all through the game, and Mayo is one area of the game that has really been very effective.
None of the kickouts by either goalkeeper today has been contested between the 8s and the 9s, as used to be the case. But now it's cat and mouse, and there are 5.5 minutes left of stoppage time. And it's still Dublin leading by 1.
Yeah, Aidan O'Shea that time claiming that he just put legitimate pressure on the ball carrier. Clever play by Johnny Cooper.
Cooper has stayed down.
Oh, he's staying down to eat into the clock as much as possible.
Well, I think the referee will probably add time on for this. You could be certain. Kieran Kilkenny back out here as far as Cian O'Sullivan. Trading passes with Johnny Cooper. My goodness, that's a miraculous recovery. Whatever he's on, I must get on myself. Cian O'Sullivan back again to Brian Fenton. Under pressure, 2 men surrounding him, fouling him. Free kick to Dublin.
But you notice, Gerard, there aren't any runs being made by the Dublin players at the moment. They're out on their feet. They're finding it very difficult to get support runners. Nobody up front making runs. Connolly is quiet enough just over the last couple of moments, being marked right so well by Vaughan.
Kicked ahead. Good positioning this time. Darren Daly. Daly dragged down. And that again is black card territory. Killian O'Connor this time. The referee seemed to just note it. Maybe he decided it wasn't intentional. How to define that word intentional is the major problem for all of us.
Well, that's the thing. That's what gives the black card a bad name. Was James McCarthy's any worse than that? I don't think so.
Referee's call. Diarmuid Connolly. Out here as far as Johnny Cooper. They could use another score, Dublin. Will Connolly be the one with that dummy solo to try and set something up here late in the match? Once again, it's Johnny Cooper. Did a great job in the semi-final as well against Kerry. Kieran Kilkenny. Oh, he's suddenly in the clear. There's a point for the taking if he puts it over the bar, and maybe he gives it to Dean Rocker, perhaps on O'Gara. They're taking a lot of time over it, and finally they make a complete hames of it. And it's still a 1-point game, 2-9 to 14 points. They had 3 players that time who could have put it over the bar, and really Kieran Kilkenny was the first man in to have put it over. Yeah, then Spastic's on.
Yeah, responsibility being passed from one to the other that time. Typifies in some respects the lack of confidence at times in the Dublin attack today, but you would have thought that the experienced player would have taken control of that and actually taken the score.
Flynn off, Bastic on. Dublin tried to pen Mayo back there. Keith Higgins, they're still a point behind. We have just under 3 minutes of the added time to go. Mayo need to bring the ball down into Dublin territory, and they can't do so because Tom Parsons was fouled, however, by Diarmuid Connolly, and there's a let-off for Mayo. They can get a free instead into the hands of Aidan O'Shea. It's now or never. Lee Keegan back to O'Shea again. Making a run for him was Kevin McLaughlin. O'Shea ignores him. Has a little look up. High up into the clouds. Oh dear. It's out towards the corner flag. That's a shocking kick at this late stage in the game. Absolutely shocking.
It's most untypical of Aidan O'Shea. Just at a time when you need composure, just at a time when you need the leadership. Unfortunate from a Mayo point of view, he just gives that ball aimlessly. And
only 2 minutes left. Stephen Rochford knows all about it. So too does Jim Gavin. Dublin, without playing all that well, about to win with Sam Maguire for 2016. Time against Mayo. The ball's in Dublin hands. They've had a couple of chances to get another score. Mick Fitzsimons now back here as far as Paul Mannion. Holding on. wasting some time. 90 seconds to go of the 7 minutes of added time. Dublin by 1. They come once more. Kilkenny looking for a free kick. Referee says play on. He's got two players to his left. Looked at them. Finally, somehow it reaches Paddy Andrews. His 2 points in the first half were so important. His first, after 33 minutes, was Dublin's first score to come from open play. And that kind of day for them.
Very much so. And that indisputable little bit of extra experience that Dublin had, that comes with maybe winning on ours, is standing to them at the moment. I notice Connolly here taking his time with this, eating into the clock as much as possible. They will try, I think, and put this ball dead or play it down into the corner.
Are Mayo to lose an All-Ireland final once again by just a point? It's happened before. They will say it's happened far too often. Diarmuid Connolly kicking it out and wide.
Mayo need to get
maybe
this.
One chance left. Maybe there is.
One chance left. This is now or never.
Well, it's been now or never for Mayo for quite some time. Some would say for 65 years. They get the ball up as far as Stephen Cohen. Runs on to Tom Parsons. Into Cillian O'Connor. Aidan O'Shea. Back to O'Connor. Dublin have got to be disciplined now, not give away a free kick. O'Connor's going for it. He's kicked it. He's kicked it over the bar. They're level. The All-Ireland final looks set for a replay. Cillian O'Connor with his 7th point. The teams are level for the 4th time.
What a score from O'Connor. Again, the two main players you want to get on the ball, Aidan O'Shea and Cillian O'Connor, combined that time. O'Connor's calmness under pressure at a moment when you needed him most. That is a fantastic score.
They've got a player down. They're claiming there was a foul in there. It's getting heated. We're expecting a fair old battle this afternoon, but I didn't mean with fisticuffs like this.
No, it's just ending a little bit unsavoury at the moment. It has been a very fair game. There's been a lot of aggressive tackling, all right, but just watch O'Connor's composure. Fantastic finisher. Wonderful score.
He is a superb finisher. Mayo's most recognised scoring outlet has done it for them here. There's still a few seconds left. We haven't heard a final whistle. 7 minutes has been played, indeed 8 minutes at this stage. And as you can see now, there's deep concern about one of the Mayo players down there. And it does look like he's going to have to be helped off the field. But at the end of all of this, if it is to be a replay, I have to say I think it's a fair result. Not sure anybody deserved to lose this match, or maybe even win this match this afternoon.
Yeah, but you just look at that last attack again, Ger. The big players react well.
That's Evan Regan.
And rise to the occasion. Evan Regan that time took a very hard shot, just not long in the game.
Evan Regan, who got a very bad injury. I remember seeing him play against Kerry. A shoulder injury, put him out for most of a season, I think, about 2 years ago. Great to see him back this year. And Conor Loftus is coming on in place of Evan Regan, helped off. The referee is looking at his watch again now. Kieran Kilkenny just checking with him how many more minutes is he going to add on. We're now into the 9th minute, as you can see, and the referee is still allowing play to continue. Stephen Cloxton back to Kieran Kilkenny. It's all over. The All-Ireland final for 2016 has finished level here. A last-second kick by Cillian O'Connor, one of 7 points he scored this afternoon, means that Stephen Rochford's team will get a second opportunity to try and beat Jim Gavin's. They'll have to do it all again in a couple of weeks' time. Cian O'Sullivan leaving the field disappointed. I think Dublin, generally speaking, will be disappointed by the manner in which they played this afternoon. They will feel they can do an awful lot better to win the Sam Maguire Cup.
Well, Mayo were by far the hungrier team from beginning to end, in particular in the third quarter, the moving quarter as we call it. It is normally the sole preserve of Dublin, but in that particular period today, over the first 15 minutes, they scored 5 points without reply from Dublin. Fantastic response from them.
And the final score here at Croke Park shows the teams level at the end of 70 plus minutes. It's Dublin 2-9, Mayo 15 points. They have to do it all again. Down to my colleague Marty Morrissey.
Thank you very much, Ger. We're joined by Andy Moran. It's obviously a draw. It was pulsating, at times heart-stopping. What are your thoughts, being part of this amazing journey?
Yeah, half-time was a strange place. We hadn't performed, and we came out there in the second half, and I think we did ourselves justice. and our captain stood up there in the minute at the end to kick an equalising score and give us another chance in 6 or 7 days.
What was the mood like at half-time? Because you conceded 2 goals, 2 OGs. You must have been wondering, is it going to be another bad day for Mayo?
You can always take that approach, but a goal is a goal. It doesn't matter really how it goes in. We were just in there, we were disappointed the way we played. Our performance wasn't up to standard, and I think we came out in the second half and showed at least what we can do.
You showed a lot of character and a lot of self-belief in pretty tough conditions.
Yeah, the conditions were very tough. In any other pitch, them conditions would be fine. In Croker, it's a bit quicker, makes the ball move a bit, and it's hard for inside forwards. You've seen it on both sides, even for backs. So, yeah, it was tough, but we showed good character, and we'll move on.
You equalised, as you mentioned, with your captain. You now have to prepare for a replay.
Yeah, it's same as last year in the semi-final. Would we have taken a replay with 3 minutes to go? Most certainly. Could we have won the game? Most certainly. I missed a chance for a goal there, but listen, on conditions like that, on Ireland final day, we weren't given a chance. We come up here, we draw the game, we'll be ready for next week.
In terms of a strategy and tactics, you really put the All-Ireland champions under severe pressure right from around 3:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, we've proved time and time again that we're a good team. And we'll come again next week and hopefully can put them under a bit more pressure and hopefully finish off the job.
Well done, Andy Moore, and thank you for joining us.
Well done to Andy Moore, and well done to both teams. It may have ended in a draw, and I think the panel agree with me here in studio. That was, I know the word epic is an overused cliche, but it was epic.
It was everything you want in a sporting contest. Physicality, intensity, competitiveness. 30 players, 38 players giving their all, and also aided and abetted by a referee who left the play. There was huge hits in it. There was huge work rate, huge levels of fitness, and look, no one deserved to lose it. Sure. It was really, really enjoyable, and it's hard to please us, but I'm sure we're all happy.
I suppose the best compliment, Colin Rourke, that you can play to the two teams is, and we know how fit GAA teams are in the modern era and the way they're conditioned and coached and so on. They were out on their feet.
Absolutely, yeah. But apart from fitness, there's heart and commitment and spirit, which are far more important. And Mayo in particular, and we all talk about how great Dublin were. Apart from the physical courage of Mayo, they had moral courage when they needed it most. There were 5 behind, then there were 2 behind in the second half, and there were 3 behind with a few minutes to go, and they came back. So anybody that would ever talk about Mayo's heart for a battle, I think they silenced all critics today.
They did, but also I think the same applies, and I know what Colin was saying, obviously, Joe, the same applies to Dublin. Their title was on the line, they survived.
There was a lot of dynamism in their defence, but it was Mayo's day, and I think that 5 points behind, that atrocious bad luck, the way they soldiered through the second half, and I must say I felt they were going to push through and win it. The important thing for Mayo to recognise is that this job just begins again now. This is dead. There's nothing to this now.
Yes.
I would rather they didn't do interviews now. This has got to start all over again. Because they know they're good enough. We've always known that. Andy Moran says, oh, sure, we know we're good enough. Sure, we've had a good team. We've had a very good team. We've beaten the best. That's true. Yeah. Beat them in the replay now. Yeah. That's the thing. Beat them in the replay. Push on. I know that Mayo people will be feeling very proud this evening. And anybody watching them was thrilled by their endeavour from start to finish. Push on now. That's it. That's the only thing that's there.
If there was a fault with them, yes, maybe they didn't push on. When it came to a draw with 25 minutes ago. But I will say this, and I have to agree, because I've said it so many times about Mayo teams down through the years, they were chokers. They were mentally frail. Today, they showed they were not that. They showed great heart, great mental resolve. They were down and out at half-time. They came back, they won that second half 10-5. They scored the last 3 scores. They got their defensive system right. They got the match-up right. Bernard Brogan held scoreless. Diarmuid Connolly gets 1 point from playing near the end. Paul Flynn scoreless. They got all the match-up right. They won all the individual battles. But like I said, it's only half-time. It's only half-time.
The danger, as both of you have touched on, is that Mayo could lose the run of themselves with a draw. Dublin will go away and forensically analyse this game. The hype surrounding Mayo now for the replay is going to be like it was in the past. So it's going to be a test of how cold and how clinical they are to approach this game in the same way in the replay and then beat Dublin and remove all the scars of the past.
Mayo should be seething with disappointment.
Yes.
They should be saying to themselves, 2 freak own goals. That was our game. We are the better team now. We can impose our will on them. We've done that. They shouldn't be going away saying, oh, we're a good team, you know, we've proved to a lot of people. Forget about that old stuff. Don't prove to anybody else. Prove to yourself. You know, they should go out now and do this job. You know, because it's about time. And then, you know what, we'll all be able to relax and get on with our lives once Mayo win an All-Ireland. Please, God, they win an All-Ireland. Yeah. You know, nobody wants it more than Eddie. But go out and do it now. And you know, this is not a time for back-patting or saying, just made a great performance against the Dubs. Who cares about that?
And you're right. And you prove the critics right when you win an All-Ireland. You don't prove the critics right or prove the critics wrong in a draw in All-Ireland. Now it's up to them. 75 minutes. Now today, I think, when you analyse this in cold light today and they look back and this was a game that Mayo left behind. This was a day when the Dubs were there for the taking. This was a day when the Dubs were not firing on all cylinders. This was a day that the Dubs should have been taken out.
They had 2 goal chances as well. They had 2 goal chances in the second half. The one that fell to Andy Moran, a wee dummy in the net, game over. Game over. I mean, that's where we're at.
In fairness,
you've got to put them away, but it's all right in fairness.
No, Pat's point is dead on. Dublin weren't at their best today. Now, with all due respect to Mayo, I'm not saying that.
No, but Mayo put them that way. Mayo made them that way.
Yeah, Mayo had to survive outrageous bad fortune, and they still came back from it. The danger for Mayo is that Dublin will not be as poor again, because there was times in that game as if Dublin were believing their own hype and thought that they didn't have to go out and work as hard as Mayo were prepared to do. They didn't put in that hard shift today. It'll be a different Dublin team, I think, in the replay, but Mayo could be better too.
Well, I mean, hopefully Mayo defenders will not score own goals in the replay. That takes 6 points out of it. I mean, the reality was that Dublin were powerless up front. Bernard Brook and the inside forwards, they made nil headway because Mayo were ferocious. They dived, they tackled, they refused to quit. And that's exactly where they want to be here. Dublin are All-Ireland champions and they've been there. And, you know, long runs don't go on forever. This is the time. You could see it out there today. Mayo had the mental strength for this. But it's no good batting themselves in the back.
There was another question to the three of you about all of this. How are you all fixed on the 1st of October?
You'd park everything to get a rerun of what we just saw.
I'll tell you what.
We can be cranky and we can be nitpicking at times. But this was what sport was all about.
Joe didn't get a chance to wear the Mayo jersey, by the way, yet.
I'll wear it yet, I'll tell you. I feel I'm going to be wearing it this year.
Like I said, this was what sport was all about. This was a true sporting contest. 40 gladiators put on a performance today for the honour and glory of the little village, for the honour and glory of the county. And, you know, in a way, that's what makes sometimes... we criticise the GA and Gaelic games, but that's... today is what makes you proud to be a GA person.
There was a guy in our box here, a former colleague of ours in RTE, Kevin Egan. Kevin has come home from the States to be at the match today. I actually think he came from Italy, but anyway, you know what I mean. And he's gone away with a smile on his face, even though Dublin didn't win.
Yeah, and he'll be coming back for the replay. And I suppose there's a lot of people from Mayo through forced emigration over the 50s and 60s and right up to the present day who are in cities all over the world looking at this. They'll all want to be here for the replay. So, Pádraig Duffy was saying he could have sold 140 tickets, 1,000 tickets. I'd say it'll be demand for 200,000 for the replay.
We could be back to the old days, you know, when fellas sat on the sideline and pushed onto the pitch.
No, they should charge money at the gate and let the first 80,000
But like Michael, the bottom line is after today, I mean, there's no medals handed out for heroic performances or great draws. Medals are handed out by the team who deserve it and for the team who really earn it. And Mayo will have to just move up a next level.
There's still a bit for them to go. There's a wee bit there. There were a couple of things there. Andy Moran's goal chance. Aidan O'Shea, they need more from Aidan. You know, he just felt in the second half, this is your time now, kid. Go on, show what you're made of. They just need a wee bit more. And that's why they didn't win it today.
But Joe,
they must know that they're there.
Do you think that Diarmuid Connolly, Dean Rock, Kevin McManaman, Bernard Brogan, all powerless today, Paul Flynn, Brian Fenton not as good as usual?
Lee Keegan, you can be sure that Lee Keegan will bring it to Diarmuid Connolly again the way he brought it to him today. I mean, it's unbelievable how many of Lee Keegan's opponents get a yellow card for wrestling with him. It's an amazing, one of the amazing coincidences of Gaelic football.
At least he has a souvenir going home, Diarmuid Connolly's jersey. Anyway, the big prize may not have been claimed here at Croke Park today, but there is a nice prize to be won here on the Sunday game. We would like to send you to New York. Details after the break.